Gonna go grab my coffee, so meanwhile you can watch this video that I made for you today.
Hamas bir terör örgütü değil, topraklarını ve vatandaşlarını koruma mücadelesi veren, evet, bir kurtuluş ve bir mücahitler grubu.
Yeah, let's give this guy a few F-35s, right? That's probably a good idea. I think it's good that they're in NATO. Let's keep them in NATO. Let's make them the leaders of NATO. Let's make Turkey the leaders of NATO. He is sponsoring the takeover of Syria by Al Qaeda and ISIS. He is calling Hamas, the good guys, Hamas, trying to stop anyone from attacking Iran. He is literally making Turkey a safe haven shelter for terrorists from all across the globe. Like wanted terrorists are running into Turkey to seek shelter and refuge and legal protection. And he's calling for the annihilation of Israel. By the way, there's a lot of voices in Turkey that are calling also for the destruction of America and death to America, al-Maut al-America, al-Maut al-Yahud, in Turkish. They're saying that in Turkish, sometimes in Arabic. But yeah, let's give him a few F-35s. That's probably a good idea. Let's put my conspiracy glasses on for a second. Did I mention that the U.S. ambassador to Turkey is also a top figure on the Epstein files? just saying. A good friend of Epstein. He told him, "You're my role model." They ask each other, "Send me pictures of you with children," and I got you back. Stuff like that. That's the U.S. ambassador to Turkey right now. And all of a sudden, America wants to give Turkey F-35s. That's just a good idea. That's definitely a good idea.
Hamas bir terör örgütü değil, toprakları.
So, welcome back to the show, guys. We're going to talk about Turkey a little bit, help you understand everything that is happening as far as I know, and for the best of my knowledge. We're going to also later on bring the people from the Discord channel, from the community. By the way, I created a Discord channel, a great community, and if there's anyone who want to jump in and ask some questions or share some thoughts, you'll be more than welcome as long as you do it respectfully. I already see some really interesting people there. There's a guy from Bahrain and who's living in Qatar in the Discord, so welcome. Everyone is welcome in this channel, and whoever want to come and speak can speak. But before we jump right now and start panicking, guys, this is where Israel struck in Syria. That's the runway. This is right now how it looks like. I'm going to show you the Google Maps from before. No Turkish actors were harmed in the making of this video. And it's very important because Israel and Turkey are not about to start a war. Not yet, at least. It's not on the table. And there's a lot of talks. I'm pretty sure that Turkey and some, forces in the Turkish government would love that. Israel will probably not like that, but Israel is going to be also very ready for that. But we are not about to start war. I know people are trying to make everybody panic around the world. Let's give you a little bit. So this is the airbase. See, this was before. You can see the runways here don't really have the holes that we saw in them. It's quite impressive, actually, how Israel made it very accurate. As if made sure that probably an engineer sat there and said, okay, that's the distance that a Turkish fighter jet or a Syrian MiG, Sukhoi, whatever they're going to be using right now, is going to be able to fly. So we're going to make sure that they understand no one is flying here. Give us the ball. No one is playing football today. No game. Go home. We're not going to have a Turkish, Al Qaeda, ISIS, Islamist, Muslim Brotherhood air base inside of Turkey. It's not going to happen. Israel is not going to allow it, and there's very good reasons for that. So this is, by the way, the area in Syria. If you don't know the map, that's Syria. To give you some kind of understanding, this is Syria over here. And then you have Lebanon, and then you have the West Bank and Jordan. And in Syria, you have notable cities. You have Aleppo, you have Idlib over here. And this is Turkey. So Turkey is very close. As you can see, the border to Turkey is very close to that base. So that's something that is not a joke or something to be taken lightly. Now, why am I saying that there's no war, guys? Let's everyone calm down for a second. I've been seeing a lot of shalom, Janet, and everyone coming to the show. I've been seeing a lot of people, you know, trying to create a hype and panic. And there's a lot of videos circulating in the internet right now showing Turkish forces and the Navy training, and they make it look, they put dramatic music and they make it look like they're about to come and invade Israel. Yes, Turkey would probably want to invade Israel. Turkey have made its intention very clear. They would want to destroy Israel, Turkey, and Syria. That's not that didn't start yesterday. They've been saying that very loud. When I say saying that, I'm talking all the way from their leaders and their government and the officials down to their people. They're saying that. So we do know that Turkey and Syria have genocidal Sunni Muslim Salafi ambitions. That's clear from the table. Now, we need to remember something. They cannot defeat Israel. They're not even close right now. And even Turkey, with all of its might and its army, and it's drastically growing bigger and bigger, and the production of army, they cannot defeat Israel. Israel have nuclear weapons. Israel have submarines with nuclear weapons. Unofficial reports, okay? Someone in France told me that. We don't know yet, but let's assume that Israel have these capabilities. Second of all, Israel by far had the most advanced, most trained army probably in the world. I know Americans don't like to hear that, and that's okay. America have the strongest army by far. But if you look at from training perspective and capabilities and scale it to size, Israel is probably better. Let's be honest. I mean, best test is, let's look at the last war. The last war that we had in Iran. Israel have sent thousands of air missions, one after the other, back to back. Not a single casualty for Israel. Only success, and they did not hit a single school. America went and they had enormous success, but still they had a few fighter jets fall down here, a few casualties, and etc. So when you look at it from that way, the top most trained air forces and military forces in the world are Israel and America right now. That's undisputed. Turkey is not even close to be as trained and capable right now as Israel. Yes, they puffed up. Yes, they talk a lot. That's like a guy that goes to the gym a lot. And yeah, you know, and he pumps up heavy weights and he comes and he thinks, but he's not really a martial artist. He's not really a fighter. So the Turkish army is not really been engaged in anything that is even remote to the intensity, to the how intense the training and the operation that Israel has been going. And also, let's be honest. I mean, it's the IDF against Turkey. That's like, you know, guys who like to. Just a few weeks ago, they were humping donkeys, and now they're like, you know, so let's put things in proportion, okay? No disrespect, but it is still not even close. They're not in the same league. They're still a very formidable force, and they have very big economy in a very big country. But for them to go in right now to this kind of war, and let's not talk right now about NATO, America, and everything that is probably going to stand in their way. They're light years away right now from actually being a threat that will actually attack Israel tomorrow. That's what I want to say. Very calm down. Could it be that there will be a conflict in the next few years? Possibly. It's on the table, guys. I mean, they're saying they want it. Could it be that they will be in the next 10 years? Could be in the next few months? Who knows? In the end of the day, who knows? But it doesn't look like it's about to happen now, and it doesn't look like it's happening any day, and nobody's mobilizing forces right now. Right now is just, you know, their leaders are shouting at our leaders, and our leaders are laughing at their leaders, and things are getting a bit out of proportion, and they're coming and saying they want to come and destroy Israel. You saw the video in the beginning, and that is the problem. Erdogan, he's a full-on jihadist. Full-on, if anyone have any doubt for that. Now, you can ask yourself the question, then why is America thinking of selling F-35s to a guy that is clearly talking about annihilating the Jewish state, clearly talking about supporting terrorist organizations that are enemies of America, and have shown, I mean, this is not coming from conspiracy. This came from the president of the United States that came and said that Turkey was even planning on joining Iran in the side of the war. Let me explain that for those who are sitting in the back. Iran, America, they come to attack Iran, like Sacha Baruch Cohen, they want to shoot missiles at them. Iran is like, hoy vey. Iran want to fight now, back. America calls anyone want to come and help me? We're gonna go and beat the crap out of these, you know, Meshuggahs, Ayatollahs who are genociding their own people and want to have a nuclear weapon and bring a nuclear catastrophe on planet Earth. I think that's a worthy thing for all of us to stand behind. All of the world comes and says, not my business, not my business. All the NATO members, by the way, including Turkey, we'll come back to Turkey. The only one that came and said, yes, we'll come with you, Israel. So America goes in to attack. And then Turkey, who's a NATO member, not only does not adhere to the call of NATO from America to come and join them in attacking Iran, who want to have an ambition for a nuclear weapon, and is an enemy of basically the free world, including Turkey. Sunni and Shia, you need to learn a little bit about that. Turkey chose to actually side with Iran. President Donald Trump said that. And he had to call them and says, guys, calm down. Pick a side. Yeah, we're not going to let you do it, guys. So fast forward, America is about to sell them F-35s. I would really love to hear ideas here. I mean, if you saw Iran, they attacked everyone in the Middle East. They even attacked Qatar. They attacked Saudi Arabia. They attacked Bahrain. They shot on everything, on Oman. They shot on everyone, on Jordan, on Israel. If they could, they would shoot on Europe. So what is going on? And you really need to ask that question. And we're going to get back right now to Turkey, but like, is there something, I think, and the more that I think about it, that's the conspiracy. I'm going to put the conspiracy glasses again. I've been putting them a lot lately, but I think that someone have an alibi over Donald Trump. I think that Turkey, or something involving Turkey, have something on him, coming and saying, you know what? Let's play by our music. Or there's some kind of a shared interest. Now, there are two options. One, we know that Tom Barak is the U.S. ambassador to Turkey. We know that Tom Barak is heavily involved in the Epstein side. I'm talking heavily. We're not like just talking like, hey, we're talking literally Epstein emails between the two of them that became public, telling him, send me pictures of you and a child. I got your back. You're my role model. And a lot of stuff. I think he's mentioned there like more than 500 times. So that guy is the ambassador, the Turkish ambassador to America. I know they call him American ambassador to Turkey, but he's acting like the Turkish ambassador to America. Could it be that Donald Trump is so gullible that he's actually falling for what this guy is telling him, and which is shifting and convincing him that Turkey, a safe haven for terrorists, and basically a very, very concerning megalomaniac that is trying to bring back the Ottoman Empire into the Middle East and annihilate Israel, by the way, and keep saying that. Somehow he managed to convince them that these guys are good. They're our friends. Let's give them F-35. So that's something very, very bizarre that I think is definitely worth our attention. Now, I want to show you another video that is very concerning about Turkey. And like I said, guys, so this is, for those who joined the show right now, so this is the airbase. This airbase is located in somewhat the northern part of Syria. And Turkey have been showing clear interest and sending people there, etc. They're denying it, but they've been showing clear interest. And I don't believe anything that Turkey is saying. Turkey is extremely involved in Syria. Now, some people will come and say, yeah, but Turkey was invited into Syria. It doesn't matter to me if they were invited by Al-Qaeda. Guys, that's not an argument. I had a guy, a smart guy later, told me, listen, it's a sovereign nation of Syria, and they invited Turkey to go and help them rebuild the country. Let's stop for a second there and talk about that. We're talking about ISIS. The guy was wanted by the United States. He was a top 5 terrorist on the planet. So, top 5, that's quite a good ranking to be. Now, as you can see here in this image, Turkey have about 50 times larger occupied places, land in Syria than Israel in Syria. So Turkey is occupying Syrian land, I think like 5% of the Syrian country, of the nation of Syria, the previous nation of Syria. Israel is just holding a very small part of the border that is very important strategically for two things: to ensure that they don't attack Israel, and also to ensure that they don't genocide minorities. So a lot of minorities are flocking away from Turkey and Syria and El Shara into the areas of Israel. And then you have the Druze Mountain as well. Anywhere else that is not under the protection of Israel in Syria is a free game, is a free buffet for Turkey and for Syria, and that's the Kurds, and that is many other forces there that getting annihilated, oppressed, and slowly ethnically erased. They would do it. They would do that faster if they could. Turkey have been involved already in several genocidal attempts. The Armenians, the Kurds, and etc. They have been involved in that, guys. And they will probably gladly go and do it again. And that is what is a problematic thing. Now, I want to make one thing clear before we continue. And it's very important for me that you all hear that from me. I don't hate Turkish people. I have great Turkish friends. As a matter of fact, one of the literally best friends that I have here in Germany is a Muslim from Turkey, living in Germany. And he's one of the only ones that I actually trust with my kids. I'm being very honest with you. One of the only ones here that I will trust, hey, you know what, can my kid go to your place, play with your daughter, and etc. Like, I completely trust him. So you need to differentiate right now between the Turkish people to the Turkish government. And I'm talking with Turkish people, I'm talking the ones who want to have peace, not the jihadists. And there's a lot of Turkish jihadists in Turkey, a lot. But there is also decent, reasonable human beings there that would actually love to see Erdogan and this kind of regime go down, and Turkey going a little bit more towards Europe than more towards Afghanistan and Mosul and Al-Qaeda, which is what's happening right now. So we want to make that clear, guys. We're not targeting all the Turks. We're definitely talking about the ones that want to come and annihilate and genocide and kill and murder. These are the bad guys. We don't like them. And there's quite a lot of them in Turkey. We'll also need to be able to call that for what it is. So as you can see here in this video, this is like crazy, the level of dispute that we have over here and the propaganda. This is how far the base is from the Turkish border. And Israel waited for the Turkish soldiers and engineers and whatever was there to get out of there, and then went and bombed it, sending them a clear message: we see what you're doing and we're not going to let you do that. And that is, guys, not violating any articles in NATO. Article number 4 or number 5, go and read about it. It doesn't violate any of them. It doesn't require any coalition to come right now and see how can we go and attack Israel, etc. Syria is not part of NATO, and no Turkish forces were attacked yet. And if there were any Turkish forces there, they were operating clearly outside of the legal agreement of Europe, by going to a foreign country and embedding themselves among terrorists and trying to help a terrorist regime build, you know, an air force. That is important. Here is another very important video that I want you to hear. This is a former high-up minister from the Turkish government that is directly calling for suicide bombers and shaheed and martyrs to go and march into Israel. He's threatening Israel, and he's saying, we are willing to sacrifice up to 400,000 of our own citizens to send them as martyrs to go and wipe you out of the map. Like literally an army of Muslims. And he's getting applause. Let's hear it out and then we can talk about it.
Şeref mertebesi olarak çocukluğumuzdan itibaren kendi kimliğinde yaşayan bir insan olarak söylüyorum. Hamdollah, evet, İsrail 95 saattir ve 300 bin, 400 bin şehit veririz ama İsrail...
Sacrifice of thousands of shaheed. Israel will cease to exist. Guys, this is... And he get applause. Try for a second to imagine that you have a leader. This is Turkey. Trying to be part of NATO, right? So try to imagine right now a leader in Germany, or, you know, I'm not going to say the UK and France, because that's actually, I can see it happening right now. Not maybe before. A leader in the US going in the parliament and saying to Mexico, we are ready to send suicide shaheeds, 400,000 of them, to go and die in order to wipe you out. Citizens of this country. We have them. They're here. They're just waiting for me to tell them to go. Like, can you imagine that being said in Israel? Can you imagine that being said in the US? I would even go, can you imagine that being said in Lebanon? Like, well, they're not yet there. I mean, Hezbollah and the Muslims, yes, but can you imagine Christians saying that? Can you imagine Jews saying that? No, only Muslims. And it seems to be across the board, Sunnah and Shia. I'm not saying all, but that's only there. Like, only there you'll hear this terminology of we're going to be shaheeds, we're going to go and die in order to annihilate you. So that is, guys, the government in Turkey. We heard right now the Prime Minister, Erdogan, and we heard right now high up ministers in that government. I think it was the Minister of Interior Affairs or etc. Now, Israel have been warning Turkey for quite some time, also telling them, listen, we know what you're doing, get out of here. We know what you're doing, get out of here. Turkey was ignoring. So apparently Israel sent a message to America, a very secret one, making sure that J.D. Vance doesn't hear about it, and told them, listen, guys, that's what's going to happen. We're going to go and attack. And then they went and attacked that airstrip to signal to Turkey. And that's the funny part, guys. Turkey is like the bully of the Middle East for quite some time and the bully of Europe. They got so used to do whatever they want and no one dares to challenge them because they're crazy. They're crazy. I'm going to go. Hold me. I'm going to go. And they've been doing weird stuff in Cyprus. Very, very bad stuff and shady stuff. Trying to do a lot of weird stuff with the Greece and etc. And in general, in Europe, like they're radicalizing mosques. In Germany, have found out that mosques in Europe are being directly radicalized to radical Islamist teachings by Turkey. And they're trying to work against that, but they still can't. So Turkey is crossing the borders in so many ways. But nobody in Europe dares to stand up to them. Nobody dares. Like, they don't want to open that box. Israel is basically the first one that stands up to Turkey. First one, like, really stood up. Went and slapped them on the nose, told them, get out of here. Get out of here. Cross this line, we'll take you down. And Turkey is right now, he's so used to go and touch women and do whatever they want. And all of a sudden, that sleazy neighborhood bully that you have got someone that came and slapped him up and just punched him in the face or told him, one more step and I'm going to break your face. And he just doesn't know what to do. So he's puffing up, he's shouting. Try to imagine that in your neighborhood. You've probably seen people like that in your neighborhood. You've probably seen people like that in your schools, university, I don't know what. You've probably seen that somewhere in your life. Bullies that come and want to push their aggressive behaviors on others, and they just so used that people fold away because nobody want to fight them. Nobody want to get into a conflict. And now they cross Israel. And that's the first one that came and told them. So Turkey is a bit shocked. And now they're trying to lick their wound and trying to see what are we going to do? What are we going to do? We're Turkey. They've been puffing them up. And I tell you what, guys, and this is the crazy part. We're going to put the conspiracy glasses again because it's going to be a fun one. Turkey is in serious trouble right now. Turkey have crossed Israel. Turkey have crossed the Mossad, and Turkey is in serious trouble. I don't know if they understand it, and I'll explain why. Up until recently, Israel did not see Turkey as an existential threat. Turkey, yes, they were talking nonsense, they had like a lot of jihadists and etc., but they were not a direct threat to annihilate the state of Israel, to the security of the state of Israel. So if you would walk today to the war rooms in the Mossad or in Amman, and just walk with a cup of coffee, probably you won't be able, but let's say you just walk in and you ask them, hey guys, can you tell me what's happening in Turkey? You will hear cricket silence. People will be like, looking for someone to point out for an expert. Ask them, hey, can you tell me what's happening in Iran? They will tell you about every single person living in every single neighborhood, tell you about every leader, what kind of kinky stuff he does, what things he likes to look at, browsing the internet, and what kind of flowers does his wife love, so he can send flowers from the Mossad. That's what the Mossad, by the way, did in Iran. They sent flowers to all the leaders. What a bad Tusik move to do, to all the leaders and the engineers and the scientists from the nuclear program, and told them, hey, this is the Mossad, and we just want to let you know that if you don't stop what you're doing, we're going to kill you. So imagine how terrifying that is. You get a flower sent to your house by a delivery guy that doesn't even know he's delivering Mossad flowers. So Israel have been targeting the IRGC for so long because they knew that these guys want to annihilate us, that they were ready to do anything it takes to defeat them. and they have everything they need to know about them, and they're just getting better and better warmed up. Israel is now shifting these lenses to Turkey. Yes, they don't know everything yet. Yes, there's probably people in dark rooms and etc. that have plan B, plan C, plan A. But I'm talking the general might of the Israeli intelligence, the Israeli Air Force, the Israeli Special Forces have not been seeing Turkey as something worthy enough to actually start seeing how can we mitigate, counter. If you played World of Warcraft or other games, there's a terminology named counter. You have counter builds. Someone is coming with the best characters you have. You don't go fight them with the strongest one you have. You find the one that can counter it. This guy can cast this kind of spell. This guy can do this kind of ability. Just find how to counter it. Erase him. Completely silence him. That's it. He's non-existent. I know I'm talking gamers talks right now, but that's something I used to do. I love these things. Countering the enemy was one of my favorite things because they can come puffed up, and you just silence them. Hezbollah puffed up. We found the weakness, deleted them immediately. Pager. That's it. خلاص. اقعد على جنب. Sit them. ولا تكبتي. Erase them. Who wanna be erased next? So Israel is turning right now the countermeasures to Turkey, and Turkey is a serious problem. And that's what I wanted to say here. Turkey have never been in such danger like right now, which is a danger of trying to cross Israel and to erase Israel. Israel have said never again. They kind of fell asleep a little bit. October 7 woke them up. And now Turkey is waking up. And they're putting themselves in a place that I think will be very, very bad. And that's why I hope, for the sake of Turkey and the region, I'm not saying it's going to be a walk in the park for Israel. Iran was not a walk in the park. It took a very long time and a lot of blood and a lot of years and sacrifice to get to where we got right now, that we're doing whatever we want with that regime, that they're completely hiding in the ground and their government is collapsed and they're, strangled, and that's it. They're dying right now. It didn't happen in a day. So if Turkey is planning on making themselves the next Iran, that means that the next time that you're going to walk into these war rooms in Amman, in Shmona Matayim, in the Mossad, and etc., asking, guys, I need to know something about Turkey. You're going to have 100 hands in the air. What do you need? Here, come here. Everything you need. They will have everything they need about that regime, and every weakness, and every way to topple that regime, and every way to destroy their armies, and every way to hurt them economically, culturally, military-wise, because they've just made themselves an existential threat for Israel. Now, again, it's not because Israel wants that kind of war. Israel's not looking for war, but they've just made themselves a real threat. I want you to understand what I'm going through here right now, because I'm afraid it might go over people's heads. They're making themselves a real threat for the state of Israel. They're pushing hard to replace Iran 2.0. Iran had Hezbollah and Hamas. They're having Syria, the entire land of Syria. 20-something million and huge border, and just completely jihadist town. I call Syria the Mad Max of the Arab world. It's literally the Mad Max. You have jihadists that are running on trucks, tying their friends on trucks, going around from village to village, plundering, killing, and just sex slaving one another. So Turkey is taking Syria right now and is working on making itself next threat for Israel. By the way, thank you so much for that. Galath, Erdogan is in everyone's back. Yeah, he is the bully of the Middle East that haven't seen anyone stand up to him, and now Israel's standing up. So what am I saying here is this. Why is it important that you have the entire might of the Israeli intelligence focus on a certain enemy? Because like I said, they have, it's not like they're completely caught by surprise. Like I know about that, many people know about that Turkey is a problem. But it was not the main thing on the table. And when between, there's a problem, we have plan B, plan C, like drawer plans, into already having a well-oiled intelligence, espionage, ghost operations behind the scene, kind of everything focused on Turkey right now. There is probably 2 countries in the world that you don't want to be their enemies. Like there's a few of them, but there's 2 very, very lethal ones. That is the United States of America, and that is Israel. These are 2 countries you don't want to be their direct enemy. They don't play games, and they don't take hostages. And right now, Turkey is making itself the enemy of Israel, direct. And in Israel right now, they're starting to talk about, okay, let's open up. 10 years ago, Turkey was way behind in exporting weapons. Now they're one of the biggest weapon exporters in the world, almost as big as Israel. That's a problem. All right, technology-wise, they're slowly closing the gap. That's a problem. We're going to have to deal with that. All right, lots of jihadists there that want to come and destroy and kill us, and they have a lot of them. That's a problem. Okay, let's see. Is Turkey united? No. Ooh, that is fun for the Mossad. That is fun for the Mossad. This is like, yes, guys, break the Lego tower here in Iran. Let's focus. There's a new Lego tower here. Let's start breaking this one in. Who in Turkey, if needed, might be a good ally for Israel? Wow. I'm going to leave it in the comment. I want to see. Who do you think in Turkey might be very interested? Also the Discord guys. Who do you think is going to be an interesting possible ally for Israel that is deep inside Turkey? And I'll give you a hint in numbers. Yes, guys, I'm doing this on for the people on Discord. I'm doing this on YouTube, so you might not be seeing the videos. But who do you think? Let's see. I'm gonna wait for answers. Lorgad. Kurds. You're ready. The Kurds. Wow. So the Kurds are there in the millions. They don't like Turkey. They don't like Erdogan. That's one. And they're fierce. These guys, you don't want to mess with them. So already, that's like, oh shit, Turkey is not in a good place. Now you have also a lot of the people in 35 million Kurds, we were saying. Like, imagine how stupid that is that they want to start a war with Israel. And now you also have another interesting thing. Have you remembered the coup that almost took place in Turkey? Like, literally almost took place. So there's a lot of people in Turkey that don't like this government. And they've been already kind of, humiliated and oppressed. And they're probably waiting. 2 million Kurds in Istanbul, people are saying, like, my God. What does Turkey have in Israel that can be equivalent to that? You can say, what, the Muslim Arabs in Israel? 2 million of them? Out of them, we can say 600-700 able bodies. The rest are women and children. They bring a lot of kids. Out of these 600,000-700,000, 800,000, many of them have actually a good life in Israel. And Israel was not born yesterday. They've been keeping tab. They know exactly who is the good one there and who is the very shady, weird Muslim Brotherhood guys. They know very good. And they will be ready for them. Especially after October 7th. And like I said, it's easier when you're a good country also. Israel is a good country. So a lot of these Muslim Arabs in Israel, they honestly have good life. Like, they have way better life than in Syria, than in Lebanon, than in Jordan. And not all of them are stupid, takbir, Allahu Akbar, like in Syria. Not all of them are that dumb, like in Palestine, that will come with crutches and think that they can come and destroy Israel. I'll invite you in a second, Allah. I see the invitation. Definitely. So many of them actually have a good life. And they don't want to go and murder their Jewish friends. And they don't want to go and destroy their own country. Many of them actually see Israel as their own country. You understand what I'm saying? So it's going to be very hard for Turkey to play that same game. So I just gave you a glimpse of some of the weaknesses that might start to be exploited very easily. Some of these guys are literally saying, hey, I'm here. Can someone come and exploit me? I'm a weakness for this Turkish regime. Can someone come? And like Mossad and other organizations around the world said, listen, Turkey, part of NATO, I know it's a crazy country, but still, we're not enemies with Turkey. We have a lot of people in Israel going to do, hair transplant in Turkey. Like there used to be times that, there was a lot of business, a lot of tourism. Turkey was considered we knew what's happening there, but it was not like an enemy like Lebanon or Syria in that aspect, that you go there, it's a death sentence. And now they're completely changing that, and they're becoming, it's safe to say, the main enemy of Israel. That's I'm not making this up, guys. I'm not saying that because Israel want that. I'm saying that because that's literally what they're saying. And that's a differentiation that is very important to pay attention to. That's literally what they are saying. Here, I will let you, I want to show you the video. I know you've seen it quite a lot. Here, that's a strike in that base. I want to show you the video of the Syrian Officer Training Academy. By the way, Turkey is also supporting Hamas. Right. This is the end of the Officer Training Academy, or one of them in Syria. This is one of many videos. Listen to what they say there. So like I said, it's coming from the soldiers all the way up. It's coming from the Bedouin farmer all the way to the politicians. That's the terminology they're using. So we're not making this up when we're saying that they're making themselves an existential threat for Israel, and Israel's going to have to deal with that. To think that Israel's just going to sit and let them do it? No, Israel's not doing that anymore. Let's wait 25 years from now and see what happened. Israel's not playing that game anymore. It's a different Israel. Listen up. Like, when I finished the Officer Academy training in the IDF, it was a very emotional day for me and for my family. We stood in the Midrasha and in the Officer Academy school, and there was a big verse from the Bible that was saying, like, written all in front of us. Mimeni tiru v'chen ta'asu. It's from the book of Gideon in the Bible, from the Judges. Gideon was one of the judges, and it comes and says, "Look at me and do as I do." And that's a story when Gideon went and took the elite selected men from Israel, and as he was going to attack the enemy of Israel, he told them, these are the instructions from God. We're going to hold these jars, and we're going to hide the candles, and then we're going to take up and like break them and make a lot of noise, and we're going to see a lot of light, and etc. And the soldiers were asking, like, this is not this is not military strategy textbook, right? It's like Sun Tzu, which was not born yet, like, didn't write about that. How would we know what to do and when? I mean, you're talking like things that have never been done. So he came in and told them this: look at me at the edge of the camp. He's going to be at the edge of the front of the camp. Look at me and do as I do, which was the whole idea of leadership, of leading by example. And the IDF is probably one of the only armies in the world that full on take that concept. I'm saying that hand on my heart. Even the United States Army doesn't do the same thing like the IDF officers do, because it's one of the only armies that the IDF officer, it did not come from Princeton or from some kind of a military university. He came from the ranks. He was a soldier, just like anyone else. He joined like anyone else. He cleaned bathrooms, washed dishes, cleaned weapons, and did all the dirty jobs and the crappy jobs, and then got, higher and higher ranks and proved himself, and then he became an officer. He climbed through the ranks. So he earned the respect of everyone. There was not a single soldier that could come to me and tell me, what do you know? What do you know what we're talking about? Like, we don't have that thing like in the US, we have the sergeant that know all the knowledge, and then the officer comes, and you always have that challenge where the sergeant is actually the hub of knowledge and the officer is the strategic and the leadership, and often the mouth of how the army and the government want things to be operated. In the IDF, it comes from the ranks. Number two, when we lead in battle, in Israel, the IDF officers are the first one to charge. So you're the front one, and we lose probably more officers. And there is a place for criticism, because strategically, the most important soldier, you can say, in your platoon is the officer. And it's not because he's any, as a human any better, but he's literally the most important right now chess piece in that unit, because you can lose the gunner, you can replace it. You can lose a sniper, you can probably find someone else that can shoot. You lose the officer, you just lost like the head of the unit. So there's a lot of armies that will keep the officers in the back. My point back to that, when I finished Officer Academy and we're standing there, it was a very emotional moment, and we had our families coming to celebrate, and we had musicians that came and played music about love, about peace, about hope. We did not stand there and chanted, Takbir, Takbir, we want to bathe in the blood of the Lebanese. We did not stand there, we're going to go and we're going to murder and massacre all the residents of Syria and kill their men and take their women. Sex slaves, like this is how, when I come and say it's a fight between light and darkness, it's not a metaphor, it's a diagnosis. It's a professional medical psychological diagnosis. There's darkness there, forces of jihad is darkness, and there's forces of light that don't want to kill anyone, that just want to live in peace. And I think that is something very important that you're seeing right now. Now, Turkey, like I said, is becoming a safe haven as well for Muslim Brotherhood and terrorism from all around the globe. And that is something that should not be taken lightly. And that's all I had to say, actually, about that. Now, I want to leave some places right now to read some comments. And also, there were people in the Discord that wanted to either speak or share some stuff. So if you guys want, I'm going to open the mic now. And you're more than welcome. Of course, respectfully, and I'll do my best. And I will do my best to answer any questions. I know maybe someone accidentally raised their hand there. No pressure, guys. No pressure. You don't have to. Don't wanna. Request to speak. Here we go. I hope that I did this right. Mr. Ala.
Yeah. Yes.
Marhaba. I'm good. How are you? So you are Ala from Bahrain, right?
Yeah, from Bahrain. Yeah. So, first question I have is that you mentioned the allies of the Kurds, okay?
Yeah.
So the Kurds, there are two Kurds in Syria and in Iraq, and there are in, I believe, Iran, and yeah.
Yeah,
So,
divided among three major countries, yes.
Yes. So the Kurds in Iraq, they basically betrayed the Iranians when they took the weapons for themselves that they were supposed to take to Iran. But are they different from the Kurds in Syria, or how can you explain that?
So, first of all, I am not a Kurdish man myself, and I'm speaking from the knowledge that I have from talking to Kurdish people and to Persian people, Iranian people, and Syrian people. So, take what I'm saying right now here in some kind of a consideration, put it in the right frame. You know, I might be wrong about what I'm saying, but from what I understood is that, and that's actually interesting, it goes back to Turkey. That's what I understood by talking to Itay Engel. Itay Engel is one of the most famous Israeli war correspondent that actually went to Syria, Iraq, and Iran more than 10 times. And in his last trip, it was right before that so-called betrayal. He went to Syria and Iraq to meet with the Kurds, and he was placed a cover on his face and driven through the mountains into the border with Iran, where he was allowed to enter one of the mountain tunnels, secret bases, from one of the Kurdish resistance in Iran. When I say in Iran, they're literally standing in Iraq, outside of Iran, and about to go. And these women, actually, it's a really crazy story. They're like Amazons, these like fierce female fighters and men. They're living in these tunnels, and they go into covert behind enemy lines operations inside of Iran and etc. in order to topple that regime. Now, their alliance is to the Kurds and not always to the Persian people. So there's a lot of kind of tension and mix there. And I know there's a lot of Iranians that kind of hate that, and also them. And there's a lot of Iranians, Persians that come and say, no, when Iran is going to be Persia. It's not going to be Kurdistan. And they said, no, it's, you know, so there's definitely some tension there. But right now, the same enemy, they have the same enemy. What he told me is this. He told me, yes, the Kurds decided that they were giving weapons. That's what he said. They were giving weapons. That's confirmed, at least from the sources that I've heard. Given weapons by not only America, but also by Israel and the Mossad and etc. And then he told me, right before they go to attack, Turkey got involved and made sure that this is off the table. They said, we don't want the Kurds right now to revolt in Iran and to free Iran, because then if that happened, it might ignite the ripple effect to like 20 million Kurds in Turkey, and then Turkey is going to be right now. How we deal with these guys? Like, look at their cousins right toppled that regime over there. So I feel like there is some kind of a move in the Arab Muslim world, and like Kurds are also Muslims, but they're not Arabs. That there's a lot of somehow tensions there. For some reason, I still couldn't figure out in my head why there's so much hate between them. After all, the Kurds were, you know, descendants of Salah ad-Din, etc. So, but that's a different topic right now. So what they're saying is that the command actually was given from high up. They tried to frame the Kurds as the traitors. They were ready. They were ready to go, not necessarily to give the weapons, but actually to go and do it. But then they were told to stand down. That's option number one. Option number two, and that is the option that the Kurd might have actually played a trick here and decided, you know what, we're not playing by your flute. Now we need to put things in proportion right now. And remember, few months before, like Itay Engel that went, he went there like I think 6 or 10 days before that thing happened. So it was like very fresh that they were ready to go, that they were getting the weapons and etc. So in Syria, the Kurds were basically the greatest ally of America in fighting ISIS. America did not want to put boots on the ground, and they said, what are we going to do? We don't want to get dirty, but we want to get rid of ISIS. And they found the Kurds, and the Kurds hated ISIS. ISIS hated the Kurds, and ISIS, you know, took a lot of revenge on the Kurds. So they made an alliance with the Kurds, and the Kurds were the reason that they actually defeated ISIS. They were the main force on the ground that did that. And all of a sudden, one day, America goes and meet with Ahmed al-Shara and coordinate with Tom Barak and others, and they just betray the Kurds. And they just leave them to hang up in the air. And then Ahmed al-Shara's forces go and start massacring and killing the Kurds. And we've seen some videos where they went and were shooting women in the street, taking revenge particularly against women, because there was a lot of fierce, you know, battles where the women, the Kurdish women, were actually the ones to defeat these jihadists. So the Kurds came and said, and they have this saying, that's what I heard, they had this saying that the mountain is my only friend, where they said, everyone that we ever work with, and they actually blame Israel for that betrayal as well. They come and say, everyone betray us. In the end, we can only trust ourselves. And then they came and said, in that particular event, we're going to choose when we're going to go with our forces and sacrifice our women and children to go and topple the regime. We're not going to be, again, used as pawns of war to be betrayed. That is what I've heard about the Kurds in Iraq. Now, again, it's not the same Kurds that in Syria, and it's not the same Kurds that in Turkey. And in some ways, they have things that they stand on the same ground, but there are many things that also, big part of the Kurds, that they're also not as united themselves, not only, you know, other stuff. So I hope that answered your question. Again, you could feel free to ask some more if you have, and I can try to do my best. If you're speaking, we're not hearing it. By the way, I would like to ask you, how is life in Qatar? We're not hearing you very well. You can also write. Something is wrong with the mic. Yeah, well, when you fix it, feel free to jump back in, and you can also write down here if the question answered your question, if the answer answered the question, or if you want any redirection. And also, if you're interested, you can go and see the video that I've made, which summarizes all of this. I've interviewed Itay Engel, and I made a podcast for about an hour and a half. And he is literally one of the most fascinating podcasts I've ever done. Hand on my heart, whoever didn't watch that one, go and watch it.
Is my voice coming up? Okay. Yeah, I changed my mic. Okay.
It's okay. That was better.
Yeah. So my second question regarding Erdogan is he's quite old, and
he's quite what? Sorry.
I don't think old.
Old. Yes. Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna stay as president for a long time. Will that affect the animosity between the Turkish government and Israel? Will it, do a shift if he's not there any longer? What do you think about that?
That's a great question. It's very hard for us to know. I mean, let's go back a little bit. Like I said here in the video, there were times that Israel was in a very good relationship with Turkey. Surprisingly good relationship compared to many other Muslim countries in the region. There were times that some of the main tourism from Israel was actually going to Turkey. It was considered like, in my town, you'll have posters in some tourism, agencies. Now everybody do it in the internet, but back then you'll go to an agent. Hey, can you help me fix a vacation? There was like a lot of posters, and all the posters were like Ankara and Kushadasi, and they were all saying like, go to Turkey, and people were going to Turkey. I've been too many times to Turkey. My mom went in a trip of Druze women and Jewish women, no men, all the way to Turkey, and went and had a celebration in Turkey, like, walking around and celebrating with one another. It was like an initiative, Women for Peace, and etc. So there used to be days that Israel was in a very good relationship with Turkey. And also, I think that was in the time that Turkey was trying to enter Europe, the European Union. But with Erdogan, it seems like they gave up on that idea and they chose to change to another thing. And maybe he's doing that out of an old man with like a legacy, like Putin or I don't know what, and thinking, I'm gonna be remembered in the book of history as the one who stood for my beliefs in Islam. And I believe that he have a more Salafi. For those of you who don't know, the Salafi means that you are a little bit more extreme devotion to the letter as it is. No right or left. If it says A, it's A. If it says kill, it's kill. And a lot of Muslim countries today, they're not Salafi Muslims. They say they're kind of realizing, like, if you live like that, I mean, we're not there anymore. The same thing, imagine if you had Salafi Jews, for example, you will have Israel, a whole different Israel right now. People will be killed for adultery.
Actually, originally Salafi, I think was called Wahhabi, but they changed the name or something.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
They modernize themselves a bit, or make them look as if they're a bit less extreme. Yeah.
It's funny. It's like you have you're standing there saying, I'm gonna behead you, I'm gonna kill you, and they're like, okay guys, listen, the Wahhabi sounds bad, so I'm Salafi now, I'm gonna behead you, I'm gonna kill you, like, come on, you didn't change anything, you just changed the name. But yeah, you're right. So if Erdogan, in the moment that he goes, the real question is, and that's what we've learned about, the Bashar al-Assad regime as well, you can't rule a country alone as a dictator without having people around you that are as radical as you. And my biggest fear with people like Erdogan and other, let's say, borderline dictators or dictators around the world is that they don't play fair. I like to use the example, like, imagine we're playing chess right now, and I'm a good guy, you're a good guy, and we're playing fair. And the table kind of gets shaken, fall down, and we say, okay, let's put back the pieces exactly where they were so we continue from where it was. But if one side is a cheater, and the table got choken, someone dropped coffee, he will put back his pieces a little bit better than your pieces, and you might have not noticed. And then every time there's a chance, he will cheat more, and you will never be able to go back. And that is the thing with corruption. That is the thing with bringing very bad political leaders into the government. They will do everything they can to eliminate the opposition and to make sure that they get stronger and stronger and stronger. So the question is, who is the opposition right now in Turkey? Because after the last coup that they had, which they almost took the government, a lot of them got prisoned, executed, and completely silenced. And many others, imagine, when they take one, they grabbed right now the commander of the Apache platoon that, raised the helicopters and went right now and went, like, remember, there were helicopters shooting at the parliament building there and etc. So now this guy's in jail. They're torturing him. They're probably getting names for him. And then they go and they hunt down these names and they get more names and more names. So when a dictatorship government takes over, it is very difficult to turn back. So that's why even if Erdogan will, die from old age, the government that he's going to leave behind him doesn't look optimistic to me. I'll be surprised if they will be able, without the outside help, to take back their government and start putting Turkey into a good direction. The sooner they do it, the better. If you look at Iran, it's impossible for the Persians and for the Iranians right now to topple that regime. The longer you wait, look at Lebanon. Lebanon is a very good case study. Lebanon, I think all eyes should be on Lebanon right now. Lebanon is not yet Iran, but it's on the way to become Iran with Hezbollah. Hezbollah is growing in numbers, growing in power and influence, and the more big they become, the more they infiltrate into the Christian parts, into the Druze part, into all kind of different groups over there, into the government, into the army. And the longer you wait, the more impossible it becomes for the Lebanese to free themselves from Hezbollah and from Iran. And they will need an outside intervention that will, let's say, like Israel, like America, to come. And in this case, Israel, because Hezbollah pissed off the Israelis, so now the Israelis are going after them. So now they're getting their head chopped off by Israel, and they're getting weakened, and they're under the ground, hiding on the run. And now it's the only chance that is giving Lebanon to actually come and maybe revert things to how they were. I don't know if that example resonates well. Turkey is not yet in the same place like Lebanon. In terms of the radicalization, I feel like of the people, there's still quite a lot of people that remember a little bit the modern days where Turkey was not like, a Muslim Brotherhood hub of terrorism. So I feel like Turkey is not in that stage yet, because it took 25 to 30 years of Lebanon to reach to the stage they are right now. Erdogan has been in power doing what he's doing, not for 30 years. So once he is off, they will need extreme measures, I feel, to make sure that they completely shift Turkey and make it on a different course. Because right now they're sending Turkey, if you ask me, and it's very sad to say it, on a suicidal course. I can't think of a single Muslim country that ended up doing good once they put themselves on that genocidal Salafi, religious course of we're going to go and wipe out the Jewish state. We're going to bring back the Muslim Caliphate. There's not a single Muslim country that worked well for them. Iraq there used to be times where Iraq was like, the pearl almost of the Muslim world. Egypt. Afghanistan was also a much better state than it is right now. Syria. So whenever they turn to that direction, they end up destroying themselves. And part of it is also because the West doesn't want to let them, destroy the West. So the West will go and destroy them. And part of destroying them is also completely destroying them economically, culturally, and etc. Like it's very naive to think that Israel and America and others did not have roles in the fall of some of these Muslim governments. But the reason for that, because Muslim governments wanted to build nuclear weapon, and Saddam Hussein wanted to go, and he was trying to literally melt Israelis with mustard and gas, missiles. So they put themselves in a place that instead of looking, let's say, in Muslim countries that are trying to actually go to a modernization and to build some kind of a healthy relationship with the West, while maintaining their Muslim identity, while maintaining, their Sharia law and etc. And they do much better in terms of the quality of life for them and for the people and technologically. But the moment that they turn and shift and say, okay, that's it, guys, let's go back to the days of the Prophet, usually they end up collapsing themselves from within. So I'm afraid for Turkey that it's going to end to that spiral. But the difference between Turkey and the other countries is they just have a really big army. Turkey does have a very big army and a very big military industry. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah, very detailed.
Thanks. Sometimes I get carried away.
Yeah. Well, you forgot to mention one thing. There was one person who was going to, during the elections, Erdogan basically shut him down because what do you call it? What is that word? He had a university degree, but they did legitimize it, and then they forced him basically out of elections, and then there was some kind of riots and stuff, and they were hitting the protesters. I think it was a big thing. A couple of years back. You remember that?
I don't remember in detail, but I remember that story. Yeah, I remember that, and it's like they start with, right now they're in the place that if they will do a complete martial law there and complete gulag, making people disappear, they will probably get a lot of Turkish people to revolt. So that's also what Hezbollah did in Lebanon. They did not start immediately like they're doing right now. They start slow. And like I said, they remove one chest, the table shakes down, one chess piece falls down. Oh, sorry, let's continue. And then you find yourself, what's happening? Like, I have only 2 pieces. You have all your pieces. How did this happen? I don't know. That's a game. So I feel like in Turkey, there is still a lot of people there that remember the life before, that are not religiously fanatics, and that do want to go back to how it was before. And it's going to be harder for them to completely silence them all without, like, you know, getting a complete revolt under his legs. But he does, like, for him to actually, because think about it, like, going to war with Israel is stupid. And that's why from terrorist organizations, I understand that they are stupid. Like Hamas, what did they think? Like, they had a guy on crutches and a few guys on a glider and a few Toyotas and bicycles. Like, literally, that's how they invaded Israel. Like, motorcycles, bicycle, a guy with the clutches and a parachute. Israel have F-35s, guys. Like, Israel have submarines. Like, how did you play that? But then you realize you get the letters from Sinwar, and which were revealed not long ago, and it said there he was hoping that all the Arab world will join in that day. And he also said the option that Israel will be so shocked from what we're going to do to their women and children that they will use a nuclear weapon on Gaza is on the table. And still, he decided to go. That is a definition of a psychopath. He says, okay, I know what I'm going to do right now is going to shock my enemy, who is way stronger than me, so badly that there's high likelihood that he will actually melt all the 2 million people that I'm coming from, that I'm representing. They will literally melt them to glass and vaporize them. They will be like I will bring a real genocide on my people. And for what? For my chance to go and kill 500 Israelis. They did not even think that they will kill. Because I remember these plans before they happened. Like, these plans were known to the IDF. And if we actually read these draw plans, that Hamas is planning to invade and take a few kibbutzim and hold them out and fight, and then tunnels, dig, and like kidnap women and children, hold them hostages. And the worst scenario was that they might get between 30, 50 to top 300. The idea was like they might kill several hundred and might get like 50 to 200 hostages max. That's what people were thinking, like max, and the death count is going to be like, you know, maybe they will manage to kill 100 or 200 people. So Hamas probably thought maybe we'll kill 500, but they end up killing way more and way more success. So just for the sake of killing a few hundred Israelis, you're willing to bring a real risk of nuclear catastrophe on your people. But that's a terrorist organization. Turkey is a government. Are they really willing to engage with a war with Israel? Like, what benefit is going to give them? How is this going to play well for them? Even if they manage to hurt Israel really badly, the level of destruction that they will bring on themselves, we're talking fighting probably the strongest army right now in the world, and when it comes to capabilities. And in the special forces, we used to always use that joke: amateurs talk tactics, professional talk logistics. Amateurs will talk, yeah, we did this, we jumped from the helicopter, we hold this weapon, we had this silencer, this. Okay, that's fun. Professionals talk logistics. We were able to build an airstrip in the middle of Iraq. America was able to go and land Hercules airplanes and build an airstrip inside of Iran in order to, like, that's flexing logistics. So Israel is so trained as an army that you need to be like completely stupid to say, I want to go in a full confrontation with Israel. Well, what benefit is it going to give you unless you are a religious fanatic? And when you are a religious fanatic, and that's what scares me the most in the Israeli government and in any Muslim government, when you have religious fanatics that will tell you, Akol milamala, trust in God, that scares me. And I know some Israelis will not like to hear that, but guys, I remind you, Mered Bar Kokhba, the Bar Kokhba rebellion, Masada, if you remember that story, trust in God. If you were living there, they were religious leaders that came and silenced any opposition that came and says, guys, this is Rome, okay? and they're not currently in any war right now. So they can actually literally send their best general and their biggest army. And that's what they did, by the way. They sent their best general with the biggest Roman army to go and defeat Israel. Like, they picked the worst time to rebel against Rome. And they ended up paying with 2,000 years of exile, which the peak of it was the Holocaust and the destruction of the temple. So that's probably the worst Holocaust until the modern Holocaust that happened to the Jewish people, and it happened because of religious fanatic leaders. Now, I know some people like to celebrate them, but people who don't know history celebrate, Mered Maccabim and this like it's a heroic thing, but historians say, guys, that was not a heroic thing. We're talking right now of a catastrophe that killed about 600,000 Jewish men, completely depleted the gene pool of Jewish men compared to Jewish women. Now Jewish women had to marry non-Jewish, so the Jewish, got intermarried into non-Jews and almost disappeared, destroyed the temple, exiled the Jewish people, humiliated them for 2,000 years, the biggest catastrophe that happened. So historians know not to celebrate that, but like for kids, it's fun. They go and it's like Medusi Uvonim and this, Mered Maccabim and etc. It's cute, it's fun. It's a cool, heroic story. But strategically, it was a catastrophe. So again, when you have religious leaders, you're risking a catastrophe all over the Middle East. And I feel like Erdogan is becoming more and more religiously motivated Islamic leader. I might have got carried away again.
No, it's good. It's good. I just finished my questions, so if anybody else wants to come,
I have a question for you, actually. How is life in I mean, as much as you can answer, how is life in Bahrain?
Bahrain. Bahrain is wonderful. Well, economically, it's not the best.
Really?
The government, the people are struggling. Sometimes we have to do 2 jobs just to survive. Some of them, but people are wonderful. We're very open-minded. Life is easy. It's an island, relaxed place.
That's what I hear. But is tourism like easy? Is it easy to go as a tourist to Bahrain?
Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah, it's easy to go. Yeah.
And do you see like tourists when you go in the streets? Like, is it common to see like tourists from different places in the world walking there?
Unfortunately, Bahrain is not as famous as Dubai or other regions in the Gulf countries. But the thing is, the main economy of Bahrain was mostly dependent on the Saudi tourism, because we have a lot of freedom in Bahrain. And now that Saudi is opening up and becoming more free, there are less Saudis coming to Bahrain, affecting the tourism. But still, I mean, I'm guessing the country is working on tourism, but not as good as some other countries. I mean,
and one last question, if you...
opinion.
No, thanks for that. One last question I have. In Qatar, are the people like, is the political conversation of what's happening in the world and etc. A main discord among the the average person, or that just goes over their head, and that's like more in the Western side of things or in the social media?
I don't understand.
Like in the West,
politics and
in the West, like they keep talking all the time. Qatar is sponsoring this terrorist organization. Qatar is trying to influence the universities here. Qatar is promoting the Muslim Brotherhood here, etc., etc. That's like a big discord that is happening around like the world, especially in the Western side of the world. In Qatar, like, is that something that is discussed, or they're like minding their own business?
They don't discuss these amongst the society. I mean, we're not allowed to discuss religion or politics at work, or basically generally with friends and stuff. But I mean, there are sometimes some talks they have with they host some talks. They bring some guests and they do some talks online and stuff.
What's the reason that they're like? What's the reasoning behind not allowing to discuss politics and religion like at work? Like it's a law. It's part of the law.
Yeah, it's part of a law, basically. I mean, so just mind your own business at work and stuff because they don't want any problems and stuff.
That's
Yeah,
interesting.
I guess.
No, that's interesting that they have it as a law. Like, I think it's a wise thing.
I don't remember it's a law, but I believe it is. I think someone told me once, but I'm not sure. Yeah,
I've heard that. You're not the first one that I'm hearing that from. Again, like I'm saying,
yeah,
it's probably a wise thing. Like I work
Yeah.
in different jobs around the
Yeah.
world. It's wise to keep politics out of work, but it's usually not a law. Like you will not be breaking the law. You might be breaking HR policy.
I'm not sure. I don't know. To be exact.
Fair enough. Well, thanks a
Yeah.
lot, man. That was
But
good
I heard.
questions. Yeah, yeah.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thanks a lot, Ala.
You're welcome.
That was cool.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. All right. Anyone else have more questions, or we're gonna be wrapping things up? No religion, no politics at work, or gender talk, etc. Normal at work. In German, policy is not allowed. In Germany is the same. Yeah, but I don't know if you'll be breaking the law. That Jew! Good to see you, man. Good to see you here. Good to see you. That you came from YouTube and joined us also here in Discord. Now, for those of you who don't know who are watching me right now on YouTube, oh, so many monitors. Here we go. I've created a Discord community. I want to say something. I got corrected, and it's very true. I got corrected, I think, by Torah maybe. And I wanna emphasize this. מרד המכבים היה מוצלח, אבל מרד בר כוכבא היה כישלון. Yes, that's true. I mixed a little bit details here, and I want to make sure that I correct that. The Maccabim rebellion was actually a successful one. And that's where you got the miracle of the menorah and the Kad Shemen, the Shemen can that was lit for like 8 days. That was a different one. The Mered Bar Kokhba was the one that was complete catastrophe and disaster, and the one that actually raised a lot of tension among the Jewish community there. By the way, up until that rebellion, there was no definition of Messianic Jews. During that was one of the amplifier for the separation of the Christian Jews, the Jews who followed Jesus, from the regular Jews. Because up until then, it was not that crazy for Jews to follow a different rabbi. And some rabbis' teachings were more extreme, like I'm talking extreme, like, different than the average, and some were less. And a lot of these Jews who followed Yeshua Mashiach, Jesus, were considered just, another sect of Jews that follow a different teaching of a rabbi. Now, they believed maybe that this rabbi was the son of God, and etc. Others just believed he was a man who came in wise words, and etc. When that rebellion happened, Bar Kokhba, Rabbi Akiva was trying to frame Bar Kokhba as the Messiah. And he came and he said, he's like the Messiah, and he's going to come and save Israel, and etc. And a lot of Jews, especially like more intelligent ones, came and said, whoa. He's a general. He's an inspiring figure, but he's not the Messiah. He's not a religious teacher. He's not a rabbi. He's not writing anything. He's not like... And that's when also the Messianic Jews came and said, no, that's not our Messiah. And they kind of went aside. And that created some kind of a tension that continued for a very long time, where some of the Jewish factions said, wait, you're not going to fight with us? Are you Jewish, or where's your loyalty? And there was a lot of tension that was happening there. It's not the main tension, but there's a lot of tension that later on kind of drifted to other places. But also among the Jews themselves, there was a lot of Jews that came and said, whoa, what's happening here? And they weren't loud and strong enough to stop the deterioration of that, let's say, Jewish government that was happening there, that ended up bringing a catastrophe. And if you take it to modern days like today, imagine having all of a sudden an extreme Jewish religious leadership in Israel that will come and say, yeah, we don't need America. We don't need the West. We trust in God. And also, we don't need to force like mandatory service for the army. God is going to take care of that. It's like, whoa, guys. So first of all, you don't want to send your sons to go and serve the country in the army. You want, you know, the secular ones to keep doing that, or the religious ones that actually do army service. And you want to completely cut us off from America and the West. Have you heard of China? Have you heard of Russia? Have you heard of Turkey? Like, there is like some big fish around the ocean here that would be more than happy to jump on a little Israel if they're alone. But religious people will come and tell you, no, we trust in God only. And my point is, I'm not saying don't trust in God, but I also say, is that like that story where a man fell from the ship? You probably heard that story. A man falls from the ship and he's drowning in the ocean. And he's praying to God, God, please, you know, save me. I've been believing in you all my life. Please save me. Send me a signal, save me. And then a ship passed by, and they see him, and they throw him a life ring. Hey, come here. It's like, no, guys, sorry, I'm waiting for God to save me. And they're like, no, I'm waiting for God. And the ship goes away. Another ship comes by, send him a life ring. Again, no, I'm waiting for God to save me. I'm a believer, waiting for God. The ship goes away. Third ship comes, throws him. No, waiting for God, goes away. He drowns. He wakes up in the next life, in the afterlife, in heaven. How did you let me die? I have family and children. I believed in you. He says, well, I've sent you 3 ships, man. I've sent you 3 life rings. So science and logic, if you believe in God, was part of God's creation. Gravity was part of God's creation. So believing in God does not mean that if you have faith, you can jump from a window and hope not to break your legs when you hit the ground. Or come out of a spaceship on the moon and decide, I believe in God, He's going to give me oxygen, just opening your mask. You're going to freeze, your eyes are going to pop out, and you're going to, suffocate, and no one's going to even hear you. So, someone said his invitation or request is ignored. Yeah, I didn't look. Oh, here's a Discord. No, there's no invitation request, Sonora. Phoenix. Maybe invitation request to join, you mean the Discord? You don't need to. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Phoenix, maybe you can explain to me a little bit. You don't need an invitation request to join the channel. You just join, I think. So my point is this, if you choose to go in the path of life saying, I'm a man of faith, I believe in God, and God have a bigger plan, I fully respect that. I'm a man of faith myself. But that doesn't mean that this have to go against the laws of physics, the laws of biology, science. If you believe in God, that means that I believe that God created all these things. And I mean that He would expect me to abide. So the same thing comes to the laws of common sense, laws of politics, you want to call it. And to come and to think that your country doesn't need anyone else because God is on your side is exactly the problem that we're seeing right now in many of the Muslim countries around the world, where these fanatics take the government and they say, God is on our side. And they go and shout, Takbir, Allahu Akbar, Takbir, Allahu Akbar. And the next image that we see them is usually body parts of them on the sand dune somewhere where his eyes goggled, his teeth is completely broken. And there's like animals coming and just eating out of his guts. I've seen all these images. I was in special forces. I've seen a lot of these guys, Takbir, Takbir, Takbir. Next thing, actually the craziest story I'll share with you guys. It's a bit gory, but a crazy story. I don't know. Do you guys want to hear like a crazy, semi-gory story from war? Or is it too much? Where's a responsible adult here in the room? Lianos, should I, Everybody's saying yes. Of course Hendrix is saying yes. And more, come on, guys. Like, who am I asking? I'm asking the wrong people here. Everyone's going to say yes. So, I was hoping for a responsible adult to stop me. I'm in Gaza. We are before the disengagement. And there was one base that was really deep. Itiyashvut by the name of Morag. Really deep in. And that they had like so many terrorists trying to come in and massacre everyone there. So we had quite a lot of barbed wire, and we've just installed these new nasty barbed wires. There used to be the old barbed wires, you know, like, you know, that you see in Germany, others like it's just spikes. And then you had the ones with like the razors that looks like, you know, shaving razors, but like evil ones. It looked like a Tesla sign, but very, very sharp. These kind of barbed wires were all of a sudden installed around, and no one sent a memo to Mahmoud Abdul and Jabbar, the terrorists that were planning to do some kind of terrorist attack. So one terrorist decides that he's gonna go and he's gonna crawl all night in the fog, because it was a foggy night, and come in inside of the Israeli side and go in and massacre like several families that we already spotted the houses. That's the house where I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna massacre and kill them. And then hold myself hostage, I don't know what. I drive with my Jeep, and I used to go between some of these bases to do some, you know, briefing with some of the forces there for preparation for missions, etc., gather information for the operation you want to do, yada yada. And I knew a lot of the Bedouins there, a lot of the, you know, Muslim Bedouin trackers were a very good friend of mine. We'll always drink coffee together, and these guys are just fascinating. So I come to the base, and I'm asking, where's the tracker? I'm looking for him because I was supposed to meet him. And then all of a sudden I hear like screaming, like really, really far away, like screaming, like someone is screaming to death. And I'm like, what is that? And he says, yeah, there's this dumb Gazan guy that was trying to infiltrate with a weapon, and he went through the fence, and the more he dug in, the more he got in his skin, in his chest, in his private parts, and started ripping him, and he got himself stuck more. And it happened like at 1, 2 in the morning, and he's been screaming since then until now. Now it's like 6 in the morning. And he says it was too foggy that we couldn't really see him, but we've been hearing the scream. So he's like, screaming from like 1 o'clock in the morning until like 6 in the morning. And I got there like you know, 5 or something. So I go out and I'm looking for this Bedouin tracker. And all of a sudden, I see him standing there with his coffee and a cigarette in his mouth in his underwears, his boxers. They woke him up, and he woke up a few times at night to come and see like where the source coming, but he says, I can't see. So wake me up in an hour, wake me up so every time. So now it's like the 6, 7 times that I woke him up. He's sitting there with a cigarette in his mouth, holding his coffee with his M16. And you hear, and he goes, and then stops, and then and he goes back. I put some pants on, man. He puts his pants on. We sit and we talk and we drink coffee. And I'm thinking in my head, that Abdul, that idiot, I don't know, this Gazan terrorist, in his head, he probably watched several Rambo movies and got inspired by a Van Damme or Steven Seagal movie. And he's probably thought in his head, like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna crawl. I played some computer games. I'm gonna jump a backflip over this. I'm gonna run, jump over a Humvee, throw a grenade inside, land on the Humvee, shoot like a few other tanks, jump on a tank, steal the tank, drive all the way to Tel Aviv, run over a few cars, boom, shoot Bibi Netanyahu, then grab an F-55, fly over like the nuclear sites of Israel, boom, bomb that site, and then fly like, I'm gonna be the next Mahmoud Abdul Jabbar, I'm gonna be the next Osama bin Laden, you know, like in his head, he's probably thinking, I'm gonna be, Sinwar is gonna be proud of me. The next thing, he's having his balls being ripped, his face is being ripped in a barbed wire. The more he moves, the more he screams for like 4 hours straight. And then a naked Bedouin Muslim guy with a coffee just goes and like shoots him and keeps back smoking a cigarette and goes back. And that is usually how pathetic most of the terrorist encounters in Palestine that we dealt with. We're dealing with people that are literally stupid. People that are literally not capable and stupid. And when you let these religious fanatic inbreeds and tell them stop humping donkeys and go and invade Israel, and we're going to break the fence, and you let several thousands of them to come in, they don't think 3 seconds ahead. In their head, they're gonna jump in, drive a Humvee, drive a tank, fly an F-55, go grab an Israeli submarine, sail it all the way to America and kill Donald Trump. Like, they're that stupid. And usually they get stuck in a barbed wire and get shot by Muhammad, the tracker. So yeah, I don't know how we get to that story, but that was one of the funny stories that I had when I was in Gaza. Oh, Linus, of course he will say also that I will go for it. No responsible adults here, guys. I should stop asking you these questions. All right. Let's see. I hope you guys had a good episode today. And like I wanted to say, Israel is not about to start a war with Turkey. It's not happening, guys. It's not right now. We are entering a new era where Israel and Turkey are gonna completely shift gears, and Turkey might have done the dire mistake of putting itself in the shoes of Iran and of any other genocidal country that had the ambition to wipe out the Jewish state, to kill the Jews. Look at history. None of them is still with us today, and Israel still stands. And that's a very important reminder to all the people who want to go and wipe out Israel. It's not a good idea. And I really, really hope that Turkey as well will wake up and will realize that this is a terrible idea. And my Discord is fully visible on YouTube, I'm being told here, which is a very true thing. And I'm going to put it here in the comment in case anyone missed. Thank you so much, Phoenix, by the way, for bringing that to my attention. Galetos also fix the Discord. Psh, look at these guys, legends. Coffee, man, coffee, Bedouin coffee, Bedouin coffee, best coffee, best coffee. You make it on the fire, on a finjan, and the Bedouins, they know. I'm telling you, like these Bedouin trackers, I had crazy stories with these guys. They were impressive. Janet loved the story. Any responsible adult here that to tell me that that was too much? Thank you, Phoenix. Much, much appreciated, guys. Yes. If you enjoyed the show and you're watching until now, I always forget to do these plugins. Go and check my Patreon where you can find practical, direct ways financially to support the work that I'm doing. And it can start from $3 a month all the way to 5, 10, 15. You can be Falafel Lord, Shawarma Lord. You know, there's like a whole tier. Shlak Lord, and etc. More than welcome. That really helped this channel keep growing. And also don't forget to do the like, share, subscribe. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and help this channel keep growing. Marty McDope want to speak. Let's invite him. Let's see what he has to say. Hello, Marty.
Hey, Mansour, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It's loud and clear.
All right. Well, we appreciate everything you're doing here, by the way, and thank you for your service, of course, and we love your stories and everything you're doing for us. I have a question, though, since we're talking about Turkey, and I can't help but wonder what this means, like, if it does escalate to a point where, like you said, Turkey wants to make Israel look like the aggressor and that. What does that mean about with Saudi Arabia and the pact that they made with Pakistan and Turkey and the Abraham Accords? Like, what happens with Saudi Arabia now? Do you have any insights there?
That's a very interesting question. And I think it's my humble opinion. But I do believe that this Arab Sunnah NATO agreement is not a peace agreement. They're trying to frame it as a peace agreement like NATO, the copy, because what they're planning to do is this. NATO agreement comes and says that if one country attack one, you attack all. So if you attack right now Switzerland or Germany or any group in NATO, Switzerland's in NATO, I think so, and you attack one, you're attacked all right now. And everybody needs to go and pitch in and start defending them. So we do know that as they're speaking right now, they're being attacked all the time by other Muslim countries. Like they're fighting with each other all the time. And nothing has been spoken about that. Iran is attacking them. They're actually talking maybe to add Iran into that. Like I've heard rumors. I don't know how crazy that is, but I saw in the Jerusalem Post, they came and said that they're discussing to add Iran into this NATO agreement. in this Sunni-NATO agreement. So it's clearly an agreement that is aimed only on Israel. Only if Israel attack, then we all need to come in. And then you come and you ask your question, what's the reason? I think the reason is lesson learned from history. Every time, almost every time, when a Muslim country came with a genocidal ambition to attack Israel, often Israel surprised them by attacking them first, or hitting them so hard right at the beginning that they completely, they were seeing stars, like they completely were on their back, don't know what's happening to them. And we saw the prime example was Iran. The IRGC, the Ayatollahs, they were like having a build-up. We're going to destroy Hezbollah as well. We're going to destroy Israel. Like, people really believed that. People living in Lebanon were really drinking the Kool-Aid. They were really believing that Nasrallah, he was talking about like next year, if we want, we got missiles, like literally, and all of a sudden Israel just erased them. And then Iran was like one of the biggest feared countries in the Middle East by the Muslims and the Arabs themselves. And then in the 12-day war, in the first 48 hours, Israel defeated them. That's it. The war finished in the first 24 hours. Actually, the war finished in the first 5 minutes. Israel went and just killed their entire leadership in 1 minute. And then since that, Israel called the other generals to another location, killed them as well, and just boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, boom, bah. After like 48 hours, you're asking yourself, like, whoa, what's happening here? And then Israel went and took down all of their air defense system and etc. So a lot of these Muslim countries, I believe, are coming and saying, sooner or later, one of us is going to try to attack Israel. And we're probably going to do it the same style like Hamas did. The only way Hamas was able to do what they did is because they just didn't talk to anyone about it. They were hoping that Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Hezbollah, Syria, Jordan will join in when they see that. That's why they airstreamed live. One of the reasons they wanted all the Arab nations to see that this mighty, holy IDF army can bleed. They wanted them to see how they're standing over the head of Golani soldiers and beheading him. They wanted to see how they're going and just sexually violating Jewish women. So the Arab world will realize that Israel can be defeated. So they were hoping that this will get everyone to jump in. But no one jumped in at the right time. No one jumped in because everybody was like completely like unprepared, like, whoa, what's happening? And then Israel responded very fast. And, right now, basically, Gaza is almost wiped out. So I do believe that they're building on some kind of a coalition that one day, one of them, and we do know, by the way, that there was plans, complete conversations by Muslim countries, official governments, Israel leaked that, where they were saying, keep trying to build some kind of a relationship with the Jews to put them drop their guard down. So when they come to attack us, they will have their guard down. Now, people believe that that probably was Turkey and Syria. It could have been other countries as well, Abraham Accord, etc. So I do believe that this NATO agreement is coming as some kind of an insurance policy for these genocidal, jihadist kind of regimes. Sooner or later, one of us is going to try to make a move. And when Israel casts that move in time and completely overwhelms us, and we're with our pants down and completely, are we going to be left alone there with our schnitzkin hanging in the air, like, being slapped on the tusik, or are you guys going to come in? So for that to happen, they need to not just have the word, yeah, we're going to come in. You need to create an establishment like NATO. You need to start creating rules and regulations. You need to start creating communication systems, different layers of communication systems. You start doing trainings together. What does that mean to come and help one another when that day happen? So I feel that they're reading the map and they're saying the politics in America are shifting. The younger generation in America is starting to turn on Israel and to become much more sympathetic to Islamic jihadists. I mean, they have Muslim jihadist mayor in New York. They're having Abdul right now in Michigan. And they're having way more mosques being open right now in the United States. And we do know that these mosques are often used as recruitment centers and military campaign centers. That's like one of the purposes that they served, by the way, in the growth of the Muslim Caliphate. These mosques, a lot of time, were not just a place for prayer, but a place for gathering soldiers and announcing different operations. So They're looking right now and saying America is soon gonna stop being on the side of Israel. Europe is very closely to stop being completely and it's turning Islamic. Israel is being isolated slowly and slowly, losing its allies around the world. Today we can't go and defeat Israel. Today also there's allies around Israel and Israel also. But what if we trick Israel to believe that there's some kind of a peaceful agreement with us, and meanwhile strengthen this NATO cooperation? It doesn't happen in a day, like I said. You need a lot of, like, to be ready for war, it needs years of training. And it's not enough that you have one guy with an AK-47 that looks cool. You really need to know what you're doing. It's just radio communication, we're talking artillery-wise. You know, there's so many things. Like, when you go to the Officer Academy and you see once in your life, the first time you see a full-on, full-scale warfare demonstration, you're mind-blown. Like, so many moving factors that needs to be coordinated perfectly, and that's one army. So I think that this is an insurance policy that they're building for the day that they can actually annihilate Israel. And I think this NATO agreement is aimed to not defend them from one another. They're going to keep fighting one another. They don't trust one another, by the way. And Egypt doesn't trust Turkey. Egypt don't like Muslim Brotherhood. Turkey is Muslim Brotherhood. Turkey doesn't trust Iran. Iran doesn't trust them. They don't trust Saudi Arabia. Like, they don't trust one another. Thank God that there's no unity among the wicked. But their ambition is to come to that day that they can come and do that. And that's why I think it is, you know, going back to your question, Turkey is right now, we're going to start seeing the next phase of online warfare. They're going to try to make Israel look bad. Israel is going to try to make them look bad. And the main battlefield is going to be fought over social media and over the narrative that people are going to get in their phones and in their tablets in America, in the colleges. They're going to target the easiest targets, which is the students, which are the dumbest version of adults that we have in our society. They just became adults. They don't know what it means to be an adult, and they've been lied to think that they're special and they're smart. So they are the easiest target to manipulate and to attack. And I will tell you even more, it's going down into the streaming world, also to the gaming and the streaming, because then you can get people from a younger age. And a lot of parents today are just unaware of what their children are doing on their phone. They're just sitting on their phone from the age of 12, if that's like an okay. Like, my kid is not going to have a phone until 16. And maybe when he's 13, I will give him like these old Nokia phones that, that's it. You can send an SMS and it takes you like a half an hour to send it. That's the only thing. He's not going to have internet access. But there's a lot of parents that just give their kids all the time tablets and I don't know what. And that warfare, I feel, is going to become very fierce right now, because Turkey is getting very, very close to this particular administration in the United States. And that is, for me, a very bizarre thing. Because on one hand, this administration is very clear about the dangers of Islam. Donald Trump has been very clear about this from the beginning, like before he was a politician. Marco Rubio and others, the Hegseth, they know. But then on the second breath, they're meeting with Erdogan every second, like every several months. I don't know what, like, he's a great friend, great ally. I love this guy. I respect him a lot. We're going to sell him F-35. So there's a lot. And then the key one was, there was an interview that was done with Tom Barak. And it's very hard to find interviews with this guy, because he tries to say under the radar, especially after, you know, the Epstein scandal, which, by the way, he never really faced trial for these things. He like found his way out of it. I think he was one of the key figures there. So Tom Barak was interviewed about Israel, and he came and he said, America should shift the way that they look at Israel. Israel is not an ally. That's an American, you know, ambassador saying Israel is not an ally. We have shared interests sometimes. And then he said, now let's be honest. How many Jews are around the world? 15 million. How many Muslims? 2 billion? In several years, it'll be like 5 billion of them. Do we really want to be on the angry side of the 5 billion just to please 20 million? So you can see already this surrendering, appeasing mentality of trying to appease to the Islamic world, and for that to build with them relationships and say, we are your friends, your allies, we're not friends of these Jews. And slowly shift away from Israel. And he came and he said that. He came and he said that several times, by the way. You need to listen to what he's saying. He's a very unfortunately very important close advisor to Donald Trump. Again, what I'm saying here is like just from my brain. I'm putting my conspiracy glasses still on, but that's what I'm reading between the lines. He's very close to Donald Trump, very close, like one of the closest ones. He's a friend of the family from the 80s. They've been with like numerous business before, and he's highly connected to elite Arab money. Highly connected. He was literally investigated by the DOJ, Department of Justice, for being an active foreign agent for foreign governments on behalf of foreign governments in the United States. Like he was investigated for that. That's like one step before treason. And all the allegations against him, like, were not dropped because it was proven wrong. It was just dropped. And all of a sudden, he's ambassador to Turkey, liaison ambassador to Syria, deeply involved in Lebanon right now, and in Iraq. Like he's becoming the main go-to person when it comes to dealing with the Arab world. And he's coming and saying this: the younger generation in America are shifting from being pro-Israel, anti-Palestine, and pro-Israel, Judaism, Jewish values, anti-Islamic values. They're shifting right now to become pro-Palestine, pro-Islamic values, anti-Judeo-Christian values, anti-Israel. And he says sooner or later, we will have it very easy to be allies with the Muslims and very hard to be allies with the Jews. So we need to detach. And that's where he's pushing. And right now you have him inside and you have Turkey trying to sing that song. And that is a very, very important song that I fear that the Israeli government is not waking up fast enough to see that happening, and all their efforts on this social media publicity battlefield frontiers that we're having over the values and the image and the core, basically the core values of, and that's not the right word that I'm trying to use. It's the principles that our younger generations are standing on, the spiritual and moral principles, are being basically stolen from under our feet and been shifted completely into a very, very dark future, which is not going to be good for anyone. It's not going to be good for America. It's not like America is just going to change allies right now. It's going to be terrible for America, because if America becomes pro-jihad, then America is not anymore America. America becomes a caliphate. And we've seen what happened to all caliphate, countries. So it's going to be very bad for America, very bad for Europe. We're seeing right now, the shift, changing Europe from being a Christian liberal continent into an Islamic continent is coming with a heavy price, and it's just going to get worse. We're talking about some of the most failing, most religious, fanatic kind of religion organizations in the world. Like every government that they, infect with the jihadist virus just completely collapse and becomes very bad very good for a few and very bad for the most. So to summarize, what I'm saying is, I feel like we are entering right now, and it sucks, because you thought like maybe after October 7th we can finally rest, take the helmet, put it on the side, and just sit with our kids and play in the park. But it looks like we're moving from one battle to another, and now we're finishing with Iran, and we're moving right now into Turkey and Syria as a new frontier. And they're going to use failing Syria as the new failing Palestine. They're going to blame everything about the failures in Syria and Israel. And they're already starting to parrot that music. They're occupying the Golan. Israel is not letting us build air bases. Israel is not letting us build nuclear facilities for scientific, educational purpose. Israel is not letting our economy to flourish. So they're going to start like they were using. It's actually very interesting, guys. Sorry, you gave a good question. Think about it that way. Take it spiritually. If right now there's some kind of a hidden forces that is trying to destroy Israel's image, and the best way to do it is to come like shadows from the ground and leech on Palestine, the Palestinian cause and Palestinian people, and then use that to poison the image of Israel. And then all of a sudden, Israel brings enough light and paladins and I don't know what, and they cast out these demons and these forces of evil. They melt down to the ground, and the whole ground of Palestine get destroyed with it. Because literally, to take out this wickedness, you had to destroy the land and like scorched earth. Now these forces of evil go down, climb up, and leech on Syria. These tentacles, they leech on Syria, and now they're gonna use the failure of Syria to serve the same purpose that the failure of Palestine in some ways served. Meanwhile, hoping that Palestine can still be there, but like they're afraid if Palestine gets completely out, okay, what are we going to do next? So they're going to use the failure of Syria to dehumanize Israel and play the song that because the Zionists are so evil, all these poor Syrians cannot have the future that they want. And part of it is also give us back the Golan Heights, and part of it is also let us build an airspace, let us progress as a country. But this is Al-Qaeda, guys. This is Al-Qaeda. This is ISIS. This is not a random bunch of entrepreneurs that came and said, let's build a country. No, this is Al-Qaeda. This is ISIS. So I feel like Turkey is right now going to be playing a big, big part in that music. Marty.
Thank you. Let me just follow up with one other question. Like, are there any Arab countries that you really trust?
As governments in countries, no. I mean, define Arab. For example, if Lebanon is going to be Arab Christian, I trust them. The question should be if there's any Muslim countries that I trust, and the answer is no. I don't trust because they have not yet separated religion from state. If Islam would have separated religion from state and would have adapted the mentality of mind your own business, I have no problem. Like, you can be whatever you want. Today, Christianity, there's not a single Christian country in Europe that in their DNA are saying, we want to invade this other country and force them to follow our faith. And if they don't, we're going to go and we're going to kill their women, we're going to kill their men, we're going to enslave them. But we can't do it right now, so let's be their friends and wait and do that. Like, the only religion right now that is actively doing that is Islam. And for me, that's a problem. I cannot trust you. If I know that you're my friend right now because I'm strong, but at the moment that I'll be weak, you will come and take over and destroy everything that I've built, and I can't be your friend. We can choose to be like, peaceful neighbors, fair enough. So individually, you have Muslims that don't have that mentality. They're not. But collectively, there's not a single Muslim, not a single Muslim country in the world that doesn't have that ambition. I call it the Thanos glove example. I don't know if you've seen the movie Avenger with Thanos. So if you would have you seen this movie? Do you know which glove, the gauntlets?
No, I haven't watched the Avengers ones yet.
Okay, it's a silly one, but it's funny. It's like, so he have this gauntlet that he have the power with the snap of his finger to change reality. And he works really hard to get this gauntlet with all of the rubies with the powers and etc. So when we have it, his idea was in a snap of a finger to erase half of life in the universe. So the universe can sustain itself, with food and with agriculture and etc. It's kind of silly because why don't you just make more food? But anyway, the point is these gloves are like, they will grant you the wish immediately. Whoever holds these gloves can change reality immediately. If you would have given this glove right now to America, then they probably will click the finger and says, we want world peace and to end up hunger around the world. If you give this glove right now to Israel, they'll probably click the finger and says, we want world peace, people to stop killing us, and to maybe the people will start eating more kosher. At least the Jews, they'll eat more kosher. If you will give this glove to any Muslim country, we want the world to become Muslim Sharia law, kill all the infidels. Anyone who stands against us, kill them, give us their plunder. Like, every one of them. We want the days of Muhammad to come, all the infidels to die, and everybody to convert to Islam. So they're the only religion today that still hold in that ambition to invade you, conquer you, either by means of political jihad, birthright jihad, or military jihad, and force you to join the religion, and they're not hiding it. There's not a single other country that I know that have that ambition religiously. So for me, I can't trust any of them. Sorry. I mean, some of them have better relationships with us, like you have the Emirates, which I highly respect, and people say good things about them. But I don't think that they've abandoned that ambition, the Islamist expansionist ambition. And for me, that's a big problem.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But
yeah.
thank you.
Thank you, man. All right, guys. We'll give place for one more, if there is one more, because I see more people join the room here, and I don't want to deprive you guys the Discord room. But if not, we can get ready to... Oh, there's comments here. Phoenix reporting for duty. Yay, we got Phoenix here. Nice. You know what, the guys, this Discord is exactly how I would have imagined a Discord community to be. And I know I came late to this, creating a Discord. I've been told by, you know, Traveling Cloud and other Barak for long ago, years back, hey, open a Discord community. And now that I opened it, we have here in this room people from Lebanon, people from Bahrain and Qatar, people from the Middle East, people from Europe, people from the United States, from South America. We have here Christians, we have here Jews, we have here Druze. I see Jeannie was here for a while. Maybe we have here Muslims as well. And it's beautiful. Like, for me, this community is a beautiful place, and I hope that it stays that way, where we can bring more and more Iraq. We have people from Iraq. Wow. Crazy. Maybe you can say where you are from, guys, unless you don't feel comfortable. Like, but that's like, we have Christians from Lebanon. We have, you know, Jews. It's a beautiful community. I think I'm very pleased, and I can't take credit for that. Like, I just kind of opened the Discord and I said, let's see who comes. And then responsible adults came in the room and started taking roles. And we have moderators and we have technicians, Armenian, Greek, Lebanese. Wow. Here we go. Marty is a German. I'm living in Germany. Beautiful. I'm really, really happy. And you know what? And we have another German. And the other day I came out of boredom, and I just kind of, just before I went to sleep, I opened in the phone and I saw that there were people in the gaming room and they were streaming games together. And I was like, yes! The little child in me that wanted to encourage more people to play fun games felt like I made it. I made it in life. We have good people coming here together, talking, watching stuff, debating, having conversations, playing games together. So just kind of it's not a teaser reminder. I'm not trying to advertise my Discord. I'm just sharing with you. But you're more than welcome to join our Discord. You're more than welcome to join that. I know it's a small community. How many people do we have? How do I see how many people we have? Linus, do you know how many people we have in our Discord? Why wouldn't they make it easy?
Around, I think it's around 100.
Oh, we got around 100 guys. 101. No way. Here, Moonlight can see it. How can Moonlight see it and I, the admin of this, cannot see it? Like, where is this? What's going on here? Why wouldn't Discord just put it in front of you? Above the top.
You didn't make it obvious like that.
Discord doesn't make anything obvious. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I believe you then. We have 101. Under my name.
In less than 1 week, actually.
In less than 1 week. That's amazing. Invite to server, service setting, create channel, create. I don't see. They say under my name. I don't see it.
Members. It's under members.
Yeah, I can learn that later, I guess. Can find out later. But that's what I mean. If I should be the best test dummy. I should be hired by companies around the world to check if their product is good, if user-friendly, dummy-proof. I should be their test dummy. If I get it quickly, that's it. Everybody's gonna get it quickly. If I don't get it quickly, it means that it's not intuitive. That's all I have to say about that. Above the asterisk or right under if you see the numbers. No, I don't see it. If I click here, I'm probably gonna stop the live. So maybe I shouldn't do that. Yeah. All right. Guys, Turkey is the king of the north, spoken in Daniel. Thank you, Mad Monkey, for that comment. I appreciate that. You know, I want to see in YouTube, guys. Can you write in YouTube for a second, if you don't mind? I know a lot of people probably are not watching. It's the end of the show, but maybe write. I will let you speak in a second, Gabi. Maybe write which country you're from, if you don't mind. Of course, I respect privacy, and I know some people would be very cautious. But if you don't mind, write that. That'll be very interesting. Test. I've seen that Moonlight Crone. We see that. All right, we have another speaker coming. Invite to speak. Hello, Gabion. You're muted. Yeah, you see, you guys see how many people I have. I can't see. You see what I'm seeing. You're seeing exactly what I'm seeing, guys. I don't see it. 101. Gabion, you might need to unmute yourself. If you're talking, I did not hear you. I hope you did not open a speech. So we have
So
here...
now you can hear me.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Fine. Good evening. I'm from Germany. Also ich kann auch in Deutsch reden. Das geht sogar noch schneller, but the other people don't understand what I want to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Since the war started against Israel on October, always in my mind is one question.
Mm-hmm.
Why Israel don't destroy Gaza completely? In 2 days, maybe. So, okay, you have hostages.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of, and you want to get them out. And by the grace of Jesus, you get them out. But if it was me in the place of Netanyahu, I have lost everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Hostages. You know what I mean? I had, wie in Deutschland, keine Erpressung mit dem Staat.
What does that mean?
So in English, I don't know. As the state in Germany was get hostage by the RAF, you know the time.
Mm-hmm.
They get hostage from the political.
Blackmailed. Someone is saying blackmailed. Yeah.
Yeah. So and our Schmidt leader Schmidt don't take hostages, so he's died.
Mm-hmm.
The guy died. No, so this is in my English. So why Israel have this patience? What is the reason to have this patience to get the hostages free and to get slowly to this point who we are now? This is my question.
That's a very good question, and I think it shows that you understand the Middle East maybe a little bit better than some Israeli politicians, I have to say. And I tell you why. If you ask people from Arab cultures and backgrounds, Israel lost that war in the first 2 weeks that they waited, because they don't understand the Arab mentality. And I explained right now in my video, how does the average Arab Middle Eastern mentality of these jihadist idiots work. They don't think 5 days ahead. They've never really matured. I've actually met a German guy here in a bar that explained to me very good. What does he think about many of these Muslim Arab world? He said they've never really reached adolescence. They behave, mostly they're men, they behave like children that don't know how to hold, how do you call that word? When you have, regulate their emotions. They don't know how to regulate emotions, their need, their desires. I need it now. Ah, cry. If I don't get it now, ah. That's the mentality. Now bring that into a body of an adult who is a full-on religious fanatic who believes in marrying 6 years old and beheading people, who believes that eating bacon is evil, but beheading people and, you know, then raping their daughters, sorry for the language, is good, is a work of God. Like, that is a lot of the people in Gaza and in Syria and others. They literally believe that if you eat bacon, you're evil. But if I come to your house and I behead your father and then I take your daughter who's 9 years old or 6 years old and I sleep with her, that is the work of God. So when you have a society that thinks that way, that doesn't know how to regulate emotion, doesn't know how to think ahead, who is stupid enough to get so exhilarated, you saw the glee in their eyes. People use that word, the glee, all the time when they did the crimes that they did. If Israel would have understood the mentality of the Arab man, and that is usually the answer you get from a Druze, the solution would have been during the morning of October 7, not hours later, not hours, guys, during the morning of October 7, not days, not 3 weeks or 4 weeks when the war started, during the morning when that jihadist was going super excited, holding the Bibas babies and just slaughter the Jewish woman, Allahu Akbar, he should have felt like a shake, like a wave shock, turned around, see a mushroom over Gaza, and then boom, another mushroom, boom, another mushroom, and then realize 5,000 people just died, 10,000 people, boom, my family just got killed. And then with that image in his head, a Shaldag soldier will come, boom, shoot him in the head, keep running, he's on the ground and moving on. And then systematically, you should have killed every single one of these Hamas guys in that morning, meanwhile, completely napalmed every person in Gaza that was giving baklawas in the street or that was running, like literally. And everybody in the world, by the way, would have not been angry with you. You would have probably killed less Gazans and ended the war way faster than prolonged the war for 3 years. So the humanitarian way of doing this, actually, dealing with the Arab world and the Arab mentality, is maximum power in minimum time. Speak their language. And that would have quenched all of this October 7, because why? It would have got the best result for Israel and also for the Muslim world, by the way. You need to treat them like children sometimes, because they would have seen Hamas not as heroes, would have seen Hamas as a pathetic, stupid joke. Well, you guys went and sexually violated a little girl, and then Israel completely bahdalatkum. We say, well, they have this, da'asat araqbatkum. You know, they stepped on your neck and they humiliated you. That language is much, much stronger in the Arab world. So if they would have been made a joke in the same day, meaning pathetic, stupid idiots, you've completely right now destroyed Gaza, you've killed your own people, you've lost everything. And for what? For killing 300 Jews? But instead of reaching that result of destroying your enemy, who celebrated at the murder of your children, who spit on the bodies of your naked daughters, sons and daughters who were dragged in the streets and celebrated, instead of quenching that bloodlust, evil wickedness in the same moment and humiliated them in the eyes of all the Arab world, and no one would have been able to say a word. Why? Because these idiots have live streamed themselves, meaning that everybody would say, okay, we understand why they did it to you. You invaded with the intention to genocide them, and you were about to go and murder and violate all their children, and then they just went and wiped you out. In the Arab world, that happens all the time. If you come and do this, if a tribe in Jordan will come and try to do it to another tribe, they will wipe them out. That's how it's done in the Arab world. So they just spoke the language. So all the Arab world would have understood it. Okay, we understand Israel. You guys literally brought this on yourself. But instead, you gave them 3 weeks of wedding celebrations, 3 weeks of jihadist pornography all around the world. So many Muslim jihadists in Europe and all around the world who are feeling so bad so long that they can't massacre the Jews and they keep losing, and all their heroes are pathetic, all of a sudden had heroes. They were in their phones watching these beheading videos. I was getting them. Why? Because they were sending it to me. They were sending to me beheaded videos and this to mock me, to scare me from raising a voice. I was bombarded. I was attacked by, jihadist bots from all over the world. I was receiving about 10,000 SMSs and messages a day with videos and images of people beheaded because they were trying to silence me. Why? Because it was jihadist pornography. We gave them 3 to 4 weeks to celebrate, boil and cook this anti-Semitic hatred that they have. and to establish it all around the campuses and universities and all around the world, to have a unanimous voice, unanimous Islamic voice all around the world. Go and tell all your friends how evil is Israel. And we gave them the chance to drag us through the mud of Gaza for 3 years. So strategically talking about, that would have been the solution. An enemy attacked you, you have the power to destroy that enemy. He came to destroy you, destroy him. There's no questions here. It's not like you're destroying someone who's innocent. They came to destroy you. Destroy them. When Israel didn't do that, it's first of all because they don't understand the Arab mentality. So again, they prove again and again that they don't speak the Arab language. A lot of the decision makers in Israel, they think it's too much for them. Israel, it's the beauty thing about Israel. Israel is democracy and is a very kind and loving nation. It's a very kind and loving nation. They're very tolerant. And often that tolerance is being used against them. And that's why they need people that are still kind and tolerant, but are still very strong and can stand their ground and say, enough is enough, we're not going to do it. For example, Anat Wilf uses that example quite a lot, and I think it's a brilliant example. She says, thank God that during World War II, in the side of the Allied forces, there were generals and leaders that had the moral clarity that when the war was starting to finish, a lot of voices were coming and saying, okay, guys, stop it. Stop bombing the Nazis. Stop bombing the Nazis. And these generals says, no, we're not going to stop bombing them until we make sure that there's not a single stone unturned in Germany that doesn't have a Nazi hiding under it. We're going to humiliate that ideology. We're going to destroy that ideology. And only through this ashes of destroying a wicked ideology, they were able to rebuild Germany, which is one of the greatest countries in the world. I say it as an authority. I live here and I'm witnessing it. It's one of the greatest countries in the world, and it's a kind country, and it's people might not know it because they live here for too long, but they don't know how lucky they are to live in such a great country. Japan, the same thing. One of the greatest countries in the world, Japan and Germany, came because the Allied forces did not stop or hold back when they needed to go and purge wickedness from the face of the earth. In today's modern warfares, modern countries do not know how to finish wars. That's why we're so stuck with the Iran war. Instead of going and finishing the job, they don't know. That's why we're still stuck with this Palestine nonsense. Bunch of jihadist terrorist pedophiles who are trying to hijack Israel morality-wise and to make us look like we're the bad guys. I am a Druze. If I go to Palestine, me and my family will be killed and humiliated, dragged and paraded in the streets. If I go to Syria, the same thing. If I go to many parts in Lebanon, the same thing. If I go to Jordan, I have to actually tell them that I'm a Muslim. Otherwise, I will face some severe punishment for not being a Muslim or being a kuffar, maybe even death. Only place that I can live peacefully is in Israel. Me and many other Christians. So Israel is a great country. Know that you're a great country. Stop apologizing for being a great country. And for God's sake, go and beat the crap out of these wicked, dark, borderline, modern religious Nazis that are living around you. Why you keep apologizing to them? So I am 100% with you. Israel should have completely defeated the enemy in the day of October 7. We had the power to do that. We didn't. And when you come from the world of, let's say, the army, you know, as an officer, you learn that there is a very clear way to defeat an enemy. You don't always have to kill everyone there, but you need to reach a real victory. And a real victory is very easily measured. We did not reach a real victory in Gaza. They still hate us. They still want to genocide us. They're still giving baklawas in the street, and now they're running around doing weddings and gyms. And look at the videos. They're actually, the genocide disappeared in one day. And they're still walking around with weapons right now, arming themselves again, saying we want to do that again. So we did not defeat them. And in order to defeat them, we need to have the guts to do what it needs to be done. And people today in modern days, because of humanitarian rules and because of the excessive use of social media to manipulate the narrative, and also because of leaders that are just not strong enough, are not capable to go and finish the job. And that is why we're going to get back to it again, I'm guessing. And again, the solution with the Palestinians in Gaza, if you ask me, is completely defeat them, grab the Gaza and send them back to Egypt, send them back to, that's it. There's no more Islam in Gaza. Khalas, guys, khalas. End of story. You guys had your chance. We gave it to you. We were very kind with you. I was there. We plucked Jewish family out of Gaza and we gave you Gaza. Here, guys, take Gaza. Take Gaza, live in peace. Let us live in peace. Even, you know what? Keep all the villas. Keep all the agriculture. Keep it. They took that, they abused our kindness, and they came and tried to annihilate us. The second stage would be out. All of you. All of you. Not a single one of you staying. America, come build here a Riviera. I'm full on for that. You know what? Bring the Druze. Bring the Druze from Lebanon, from Syria. Put them there. Let them live there. You will not going to have a single suicide bombing. Bring the Christians. Let them have a Christian country. You're not going to have a single suicide bombing. But Israel is not doing that. And that's what I feel like it's not only a problem of Israel, it's a problem of modern world. They don't know. Modern countries today do not know how to win wars. And by doing that, they end up prolonging wars for longer and losing more life. If the Allied forces would have not defeated Nazi Germany and would have kept it, would have probably been into a war against Nazi Germany until today. And most likely the death toll would have been way, way bigger. So often to finish a war, you need to finish it fast and as strong as you can. And you will probably be doing the whole humanitarian thing and a favor. Favor for the people around and favor for the generations that will grow and not be born into a state of war. If Israel would have went and bombed the living cow poop out of Gaza on the minute of the morning of October 7, you would have had less deaths. The war would have finished faster. You would have probably got the hostages faster. And yes, some of them might have been killed in the process, but you know what? Spoiler alert. Many of them got killed in the process as well. But that, you need a strong leader to come and do it. You need a strong leader to come and be willing to actually do that. Not say what the people want to hear, to say what the people need. And you would have probably had way less death and Israel would have been in a very different situation. So I hope that answers your questions. Anyone else? If you have questions or more, these are good questions. I'm enjoying this. Yeah. Long belly. Long bull Larry. Same thing. He said, have the same thought. Population swap, Arab Muslims, jihadists to Lebanon, Syria, Jordan. No, don't send to Lebanon, guys. Lebanon is a Christian country. It still have hope. Syria used to be, doesn't have hope anymore. Send it to Syria. Syria, Jordan, Egypt. Yep. Qatar, Turkey. Druze from Lebanon and Syria, bring them here. Yeah, 100% agree with you. I mean, the average Gazan will feel very at home at Syria. I mean, the Syrians will probably kill him because they kill one another all the time. Send him to Egypt, to Jordan. That's what I would say. Gabi Nusay, Mansour, you're speaking from my heart. Thank you. If they kill each other constantly, they would definitely feel at home. Yeah, exactly. Now here's the thing, like people might think that I'm a warmonger. I'm a fanatic for what I said right now. Trust me, because I've been to war. I physically been to war. It's not good. I've lost friends. Very close friends. I was very close to when it happened also. Not once, not twice. So I know the price of war. I've seen families that had their children and their wives murdered. I've seen them come and hear about it. I was there when they heard that this just happened. I've seen the price of war. It's a terrible price. I don't like war. Not at all. I'm a man of peace. I really like peace. But in order to live in peace, you need to have strong men that are willing to go and do the hard work. How do you think you're living in a peaceful country today? In Germany, in France, well, it used to be, or in Europe. How? It wasn't peaceful a few generations ago. Not at all. If you were born a few generations ago, you'll be right now in a farmland trying to hide behind a dead cow while the Allied forces or the Nazis or the Russians are going around shooting each other. You'll be starving to death. You'll be killed and tortured. Life was horrible. For the majority of history of mankind, life was horrible. And then all of a sudden, we had very strong, brave men and women that stood up and did what needs to be done and gave us the best time to be alive. To be born, if you were born in Europe or in America or in some of the other Western countries, including Israel, in the last 40, 50, 60 years, you were definitely one of the luckiest humans to ever walk the earth. By far. And I'm not talking just because you have a hot shower, which most humans did not have with the one button to get hot shower. Medicine, human rights, police to uphold the law. So you don't need to go and fight to death with your neighbor over a dispute over a fence. Just have the law. And this generation all of a sudden comes and decide to give away everything, like the pinnacle of human progress, scientifically, culturally, morally, legally, from a legal perspective, legality, brought us to this pinnacle that all of a sudden you have Europe where people don't have borders with one another and people are living in peace and there's like human rights and festivals and music and health. And then their generation of children comes and says, we want to give that away. We want to destroy that. We want to give these barbarians that are coming from these Arab countries to come and just tear it apart and just make it a Epstein Island on steroids. That is, for me, is the scariest thing. We're living in one of the scariest, dumbest generations to ever live. And it's funny, like they will think that they're smart because they've learned in university and they've learned to say words. Like, they can put a sentence with high words, composure. They can spell things nicely. They're dumb. They're very stupid generation. And it's coming all the way from the academia all the way to the average Joe or average Frank or Brunhilde and Farfet Kulda. Easter egg. I want to see who knows what's Farfet Kulda. Where is that from? Who knows where that name Farfet Kulda came from? But you get my point. It's very concerning, and it's unfortunately seems to be dying with our generation. They are graduate of Tiktuk University, yeah. It's very sad. Angela Merkel, I used to really respect that lady. Like I thought highly of her. She was an impressive lady, but that refugees are welcome. Like Islamic refugees, like what the heck are you talking about? Yeah. I really liked her. I thought, like, wow, she's a cool lady. She reminded like modern day Golda Meir kind of, fresh breath air, in the world politics, a female leader that is strong, that is smart and intelligent, studied physics. But then when she came and she said, all refugees, that reminded me of what this dimwit from Spain or the Teodoro from Canada, what these guys are saying. It's the same stupidity, borderline suicide empathy, or direct treason. When you're the prime minister of a country like Germany, like Canada, or like Spain, you have Secret Service. Spain have a very good Secret Service. Canada as well. Germany, definitely. And intelligence. And they know what's happening in Syria. They know what's happening in Iraq. They know very well what's happening in Afghanistan and in Palestine. They know very well, guys. They know. Bashar al-Assad did not go with a shovel and bury the 100,000 people in mass graves under a village by himself. It was the Syrian people did it. 600 to 700 million underage marriage. Underage non-consensual marriages of girls under the age of 18, many of them 14, 13, 12, some of them even under. Many of these hundreds of millions are under Muslim worlds. They knew that. They knew that people there are so horny that they will go and hump donkeys. It's not a made up. Again, I'm not mocking them, I'm giving you a diagnosis. They knew that. And they knew that a lot of these donkey humping pedophiles will gladly come to Europe, not because they want to enrich your culture. And they're extremely fanatic religious. And they put that papers on Merkel's desk. That's their job. Miss Chancellor, moment of your time, bitte. This is about the refugees that you want to bring. The statistics saying that out of the 10 million of them, there's a chance that 60 to 70% are strongly advocating for pedophilia and for killing and beheading people and for honor killing and for jihad and supporting. And also they're extremely anti-Semites. And actually out of 67%, out of the 100%, maybe 80 to 90% actually like Hitler, by the way. Just Miss Chancellor, maybe you would like to look at that. Yes, there's a chance that 10% of them will be nice. But 90%, you might want to look at this, Miss Chancellor. She comes, nah, I know better. And she goes in, refugees are all welcome because I know better. Because Israel doesn't know more than us. And voila, here you are, guys. Enjoy. I live here, I have a kid. So I really like the future where I'm invested in the future of Europe. Like better than any other investment that I invested in my life. Like I'm invested much more in the future of Europe than any other financial investment I've done in my life. I'm really invested in the future of Europe. And that's one investment I don't want to lose. Merkel did not have children. She did not care about the children's future. That could be. Yeah. Longbone Larry saying also mostly men came to Germany. They should have allowed women and children only. You know what, guys? I'm going to show you a last video. You have to see this video. I'm going to show you a last video. Since we're talking about this topic, and you're going to love it. You're going to love this video. I mean, it's a sad video, but you're going to love it. So here, let me show you the video. Where is that video?
Let me ask you a point of question. What would it take for you to acknowledge that Islam is a threat? Would it be a Muslim going into a church and suicide bombing? Would it be you seeing a Muslim cut off someone's head in the street? Or would it be them activating jihad? Like, I'm giving you extreme examples here. And activating jihad means all of their forward operating systems, which we believe allegedly is all their mosque, they actually come out and they start to invade and take over. So at what stage would you believe that Islam is a threat?
There is no stage that could be presented that would tell me Islam is a threat in this country.
So you're saying if all that happened, you're like, no, they're still peaceful.
Because guess what? Not every Muslim is believer into jihad. That is that is an insane idea.
So what you're saying, hang on, wait. What you're saying is if all of that happened, you still would believe that they are peaceful.
Yes.
So real quick, I'm sorry, Nick. I love.
Guys, what she said is not that rare in Europe. That kind of discord, or in the liberal mindset, or in Canada. What would it take if they will start suicide bombing like in Israel Intifada? Will that be enough? Well, if they will do an October 7 on you, if they will start marrying underage girls, if they will remove rights for LGBTQ, and what would it take for you to come and say, okay, it's a problem? Nothing. And their excuse will always be, not all of them are like that. Even as they will see the blood running in their streets, from their own children, even if they will see the reports coming from the police station of all their daughters being groomed and raped by all kind of Islamist gangs, even as they will see their media filled with Christmas market stabbings and shooting, even as they will see announcement by the police coming and saying gay people and Jewish people should stay away from these neighborhoods. This was actually an official announcement in Berlin. The police made an official announcement saying that gay people and Jewish people should hide symbols of their identity while walking in certain neighborhoods because they became Muslim, and also avoid maybe going there for their own safety. Even with that, they will still come and tell you, yeah, but I have a friend whose name is Munira or Amira or Samira, and they're not all jihadists. Yeah. But what about your children? What about your daughters? What about your life? Your society, your culture, your art, your history, your grandparents. What about them? Why don't you care about them? Why are you so obsessed with carrying this one friend, Munira, not to offend their feelings because he's been feeding you lies about Palestine? Seriously, why don't you let Munira go and try to talk to them? Let Amira, let her go and talk to them. Let Mahmoud and Abdul, let them go and talk to their friends. Like, guys, stop it, guys. You're killing them. It's not nice. They've been only nice to you. The Christians and the Jews have been only nice and good to you. They've welcomed you to their countries. They're giving you from their science and the fruit of knowledge and wisdom. They've allowed you to eat at their table. They allowed you to go to their hospitals. They're giving you money, welfare, more than you can ever imagine. Why do you want to kill them? Why are you going stabbing them in the Christmas market? That's not cool. Why are you going around and doing these marches, shouting Allahu Akbar in the subways in the middle of the night? Why are you making graffitis on walls saying this guy supports a Zionist, go and burn his house? Like, stop it, guys. Why are we not letting Munira and Ahmed and Abdul to go and deal with their crap? Why do we need, and I'm telling you this as an Arab, guys, why do you need Shannon and Samantha and Farfet Kulda? No one gave me an answer about Farfet Kulda, by the way. I still remember. Why do we need them to make excuses for these jihadists as they destroy their own country? No one can give me an answer for that. No one, not yet. By the way, I'm waiting for Farfet Kulda. I want to see an answer. Their Quran, yeah. Maybe someone found an answer for Farfet Kulda. You're gonna use ChatGPT. That's what you're gonna use, you cheaters. Pretty sure someone right now is never heard of it. Good. You didn't use Farfet Kulda. It's a name. I'll give you that. It's a name, a female name. Marty is trying to cheat, but he can't spell it right. Good. Good. That makes me happy. Good. Good. Did not catch her name. Farfet Kulda. No, it's not gaming reference. No. Cindy, it's not a gaming reference. I'm not gonna give you hints. No. Not gonna give you hints. We're gonna finish the show when someone finds Farfet Kulda, then we're gonna finish. Robin Hood Men in Tights. Yep. Robin Hood. Did you remember that? Did you remember? Be honest right now. No one's gonna hold it against you. Did you Google it? Or yeah, Robin Hood Men in Tights. We're men in tights. Do you remember that? I gotta show you this scene. Okay. Yes, remember this, my man. Here, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna find it for you, and I'm gonna show you. I don't know if Google is gonna find it. I can't even find it. Oh my god, here we go. I found it. All right, guys, are you ready? This is a good one. Okay, let's watch it. No, it's this one. Farfet Gulda! That was the name of her horse. You had the princess before, she's like, lady, and her horse comes in, she jumps on it, and she lands gracefully on the horse. And then you have Brunhilde calling for Farfet Gulda.
Farfet Kugel, if I were you, I would never do that again. Any questions?
Farfet Gulda. So you saw the first scene, right? Where she's coming like, lady.
Brunhilde, I'm going on ahead. Catch me up. Come on.
And then comes the Farfet Gulda scene. So good job, good catch. Good job. Call the locksmith. Ah, you guys can't see it here, right? Because you're watching it on the... Share your screen. Where is this Farfet Gulda thing? Here. You guys see it?
Brunhilde, I'm going on ahead. Catch me up. Come on, lady. Farfet Kugel.
Farfet Gulda! Maybe it's Farfet Cougar, I don't know. I hear it like Farfet Gulda. She gotta be kidding me, that's what the horse says. So yeah, that's the Farfet Gulda reference. Yeah, very Princess Bride. You keep using that word. If I were you, I would never do that again. All right, guys, it's been a pleasure. We should wrap it up. I want to thank everyone here, especially the ones that came also and asked questions, but everyone that left comments as well in the Discord, on the YouTube. Strand of Strange says, I have no idea what I've stumbled into. Yeah. It's the last 3 minutes of the show is not an accurate representation of what went in the show. And a reminder for everyone, go and join the Discord, and thank you so much for sticking around and coming. It was a real pleasure. And now we're gonna call it a night. So, as I always